He is the most powerful gang leader in country. All his underlings obey his commands without question. Facing his fists, his subordinates can only stand still and take the beating. Even the principal and police can only pretend not to see or greet him with smiling faces. However, this seemingly powerful person, 3 days ago, was still a nobody trampled under others' feet. Even his girlfriend could be taken away by others. The boy's name is Min Hao, and today is the first day of university. In the lecture hall, the student council president named Zhang, he is introducing himself. Min Hao looks around and realizes these students must have attended the orientation and already know each other. Just then, the president asks all freshmen to go to the podium to introduce themselves. A senior suddenly stops Min Hao. "Junior, you'd better leave or you'll definitely regret it." Before he finishes speaking, he pushes Min Hao. "Quickly stand in the middle." Min Hao looks back, and the senior is still loudly reminding him to stand in the middle. He doesn't understand. Does it matter where he stands? At this moment, a girl stands in front of him. She's also a freshman this year. Seeing it's a pretty girl, the president asks her to stand beside him. "Just introducing ourselves isn't interesting enough. Let's play a game together. A game called Loyalty Drink. Drink from the leftmost cup all the way to the last one. Don't force yourself. Drink as much as you can, but the last person has to finish all the remaining alcohol. For this kid's sake, previous students should drink conscientiously." Min Hao realizes, is this meant to be an intimidation tactic? He sees 3 different types of alcohol mixed together. "Oh, I forgot to tell you, if you throw up, you'll have to lick it clean." Hearing this, all the students become nervous. But they all only drink a tiny bit. At this moment, Min Hao feels somewhat relieved, glad that he's not the last one. Just then, his prepared introduction card falls to the ground. He quietly picks it up, not realizing that he has inadvertently changed positions. The girl thinks Min Hao did this to save her. She angrily shouts at him, "Oh, told you to change positions randomly?" Just then, a student next to him passes the drink over, and it's obvious that the people before barely drank any. "My name is Zhu Jixian. I'm from Seoul." After speaking, to everyone's astonishment, she raises the pot and downs the drink in one go. The seniors below didn't expect this freshman to be so brave. They all applaud. Then she passes the pot to Min Hao beside her. "Afraid you'd feel left out, so I saved a small sip for you." Then Min Hao takes the iron bowl and begins his self-introduction, thinking he could easily complete this ordeal. The next second, he spits it all out. How could anyone drink something so awful? How did that girl manage it? Just then, the president suddenly speaks up. "Min Hao, didn't I say earlier that you need to lick clean what's on the floor? So from now on, students who spill alcohol on the ground, please lick the floor spotlessly clean." Everyone stands there reluctantly, frozen in place. Then, the president speaks. Freshman, didn't you hear the president speaking? I told you to lick it clean. Are you all deaf?" Min Hao is shocked to see the students around him actually crouching down. He doesn't understand why everyone is so obedient, and none of the seniors around are stopping this. Min Hao looks at the alcohol on the ground and says something that surprises everyone around. "Why should I follow such an unreasonable demand?" The students look at him. Is this guy crazy? Next, the president approaches him. "Are you trying to show off in front of the girls? You little brat, are you being so bold because you didn't attend the orientation? It's okay if you didn't attend the orientation and don't know the rules. Brother will take good care of you in the future." At this moment, Min Hao pushes away his hand. "This is university. Stop playing those school bullying games." The next second, the president punches him in the face. Min Hao didn't expect to be hit even in university. Then he slowly gets up, glaring at the president. Just when the president thought this kid wanted to fight. Unexpectedly, Min Hao called the police. The first thing Min Hao realized as an adult was, in the adult world, fists never beat the law. But what surprised him was that the police left without doing anything. Looking at their retreating figures, Min Hao now realizes that here, fists are the only rule that matters. Then, the president looks at the muscular man beside him. "Notice to all freshmen, 6 o'clock tonight, everyone meet on the rooftop." Before entering university, Min Hao had promised his bedridden father not to fight randomly anymore. Min Hao looks at his father and murmurs, Probably didn't expect me to come here, right? Moreover, Hualong University invited me to study there and promised to pay all your medical expenses. If I hadn't fought, you wouldn't be like this. But don't worry, everything will be fine." Min Hao now recalls everything he promised his father. Suddenly, his roommate's voice breaks his thoughts. "What are you standing there for? The president wants us to gather on the rooftop." Min Hao says he doesn't want to go and asks why they all listen to him. What authority does that president have? Hearing this, his roommate becomes impatient. "You idiot! Are you still saying this? If it weren't for you, would we be implicated?" Before he finishes, Min Hao roars angrily. "Can't you all just go? We're all adults, why are we afraid of him?" Hearing this, his roommate grabs his collar. "Stop acting like a big shot. Do you think you're the only normal person here? You dare to enroll without knowing what kind of university this is? And it was announced before. Even if all your family members died, you must attend the orientation. If no one's protecting you, just obediently listen to the president and don't implicate those around you." The scene changes. The president is now waiting for someone. "So I'm really disappointed. The The president didn't expect Min Hao, this troublemaker, would obediently come to the rooftop. Alright, you guys stop looking at me. Go enjoy with your classmates over there. Min Hao has no choice but to obey. The blonde girl looks at the president. Isn't this Min Hao quite obedient? Don't say so much, just wait and enjoy the show. Just then, Zixian, who drank too much in the morning, is brought over. The president sees this and puts his arm around her shoulder. Zixian, I quite admire you. Unlike certain people, you're super efficient. Hearing this, Min Hao looks up, but what awaits him is a sudden kick. The kick is so powerful that Min Hao knocks down the students behind him. The mushroom head guy stares fiercely at Min Hao. Who told you to look up casually? Then he turns to the president beside him. Is this the kid who didn't attend the orientation? I can tell from his defiant look that he didn't attend. I'm really curious, how did you avoid the orientation? Then Zixian suddenly speaks. Min Hao, why aren't you calling the police now? Min Hao is surprised that Zixian would say such a thing. The president looks at him playfully. Min Hao, do you understand now? In this school, even if someone is sent to meet the Grim Reaper, your so-called law cannot cross the gates of the school. After that, the president invites Zixian to be the representative of this year's freshmen. But Zixian refuses. As the drunk Zixian tries to leave, she is grabbed by her hair and pulled back. Who gave you the right to make decisions on your own? Seeing this, Min Hao can't hold back anymore and stands up. But he is kicked back down. Fonks, you little guy. Do you like that girl? But he doesn't know that Min Hao is having an inner struggle, because his father told him no matter what happens, throwing the first punch is always wrong. But here, even if someone gets beaten to death, the law cannot cross the school's gates. Next, he punches the mushroom head guy. Min Hao's terrifying force sends him flying. Without the constraints of law, this suits me just fine. At this moment, everyone is still surprised by his action. Unexpectedly, Min Hao starts laughing maniacally. You idiots. You keep talking about the orientation this morning. Are the seniors so curious about why I didn't attend? Because I was in prison, that's why I couldn't attend. Satisfied now? You idiots? 3 days ago, Min Hao was still serving his sentence in prison. At that time, someone claiming to be a professor from Hualong University found him and made Min Hao a very tempting promise. As long as he signed his name on this paper, he could be spared from 3 years in prison and could study at Hualong University for free. Min Hao didn't understand what value he had. And will your school really accept someone who's been to prison? At this point, the professor interrupts him. Why belittle yourself, as I understand it? You were sentenced for excessive self-defense while protecting your father, right? To me, you're worth this big investment. Our security department needs talents like you. Because you're very good at fighting. The president now looks at Min Hao. You've finally fired up, you've been quite patient. Then, he tells the girl holding Zixian to start timing, only to see the president slowly taking off his jacket. And after holding back for so long, how long can you last now? Stop glaring at me. Make your move. You talk too much. As soon as the words leave his mouth, Min Hao charges forward, swinging a punch at the president, but it's blocked by his arm. Next, Min Hao lunges at the president, pinning him to the ground. Everyone is shocked by the scene before them. Just as Min Hao is about to deliver the final blow, the president lying on the ground begins to smile sinisterly. The next second, he grabs Min Hao's shoulder, locking him in a tight hold. Unexpectedly, Min Hao punches him in the waist. Facing his attack, the president laughs loudly, because as long as he doesn't let go, Min Hao will definitely lose consciousness from lack of oxygen. As the president predicted, the reckless Min Hao passes out. Then, he looks at the timing girl beside him, asking how long this kid has lasted. The professor's pick this time is not bad. He's a good seed, lasted seconds in total. The president spits out a tooth that was knocked loose. Whether he's a good seed or not, I don't know, but his fists are hard enough. That's it for today. Take all the freshmen back. When Min Hao opens his eyes again, he has been brought back to the infirmary. He's gasping for breath, not noticing Zixian beside him. Zixian says calmly, Hooligan, you're awake. What's wrong? Is your neck still hurting? Min Hao is confused. Why do you call me a hooligan? Your fighting style has no technique at all. What else would you be but a hooligan? But since you were the first to pass out, I won't call you that anymore. By the way, how did you suddenly change into a different person? At first, you kept refusing to fight back, right? I just suddenly realized. In this school, having hard fists is the rule. As long as your fists are hard enough, even the law will stand on your side. Then Min Hao notices the hangover medicine nearby. So you have the nerve to call me a hooligan, yet your own drinking manners are terrible. Zixian looks at him disdainfully. Why don't you have a drinking contest with me? Hearing this, Min Hao picks up his clothes, preparing to sneak back to the dorm, but is stopped by Zixian. Was what you said earlier about being in prison true? Min Hao stops in his tracks. It's true, a month ago I was still eating prison food. Then the professor got me here with a condition of enrollment. I don't understand why he would do this. It seems you really enrolled without knowing anything. You've noticed it too, right? This university is different from normal ones. Here, no one cares even if someone gets maimed or killed. This school security department is the best in the country. And it's not just because they're good at fighting. Most importantly, They're responsible for the behind-the-scenes security business of the entire Hualong University. For example, protecting the engineering department that produces dangerous chemicals. Hearing this, Min Hao didn't expect the school to be so complex. Then Jixian tells him, the security department has 5 professors. Each year they invite special students to strengthen their forces. And the professor who dug you out only invites one person each year. Clearly, you are that one person. He believes you can defeat other professor students and become number 1. Looking at your condition, I don't know if you can make it, but the person he invites each year is always a monster. The senior who fought with you earlier once beat 20 people by himself and broke all their joints. At that time, not a single second or third-year senior dared to challenge him. Hearing this, Min Hao didn't expect to be so stupid as to duel with such a person. At this point, he stopped Jixian. Why did you come to this university? I feel you're different from them. Hearing this, Jixian leans closer. The professor who got you out of there. I came to this school to kill him. After saying this, she turns to leave. Before leaving, she doesn't forget to remind Min Hao. Keep this a secret or your neck won't be safe either. Min Hao is still thinking about what Jixian told him. He didn't expect that this seemingly fragile girl came to this school with the purpose of killing a professor. Forget it, she must not be a normal person to come to the school. What she said might not even be true. When Min Hao opens the dormitory door, he finds it pitch black inside. When he turns on the light, he discovers his roommates glaring at him fiercely, and he completely fails to notice someone else behind him. That roommate swings a stick directly at Min Hao. You bastard, you're dead today. All of today's trouble is because of you. As soon as the words leave his mouth, Min Hao elbows him in the face. Then he forcefully breaks free, roaring, "You bunch of cowards, only bullying the weak and fearing the strong." Next, he delivers a whip kick. Disregarding the sneak attack from behind, Min Hao takes down one with a kick. Min Hao, who is being held down, doesn't notice the danger behind him, just as a chair is about to hit his head. Suddenly, a fire extinguisher flies over and saves him. But to his surprise, the one who threw the extinguisher is Zhang He. Seeing the president's arrival, the 2 roommates stop their actions. You little punks, already warming up? Aren't you 3 embarrassed? If you're not satisfied, fight one-on-one. Min Hao, come with me. The scene changes. Sensing Min Hao's confusion, the president speaks, and Professor Cheng wants to see you. At this moment, Min Hao stops. Why does Professor Cheng want to see me? The president smirks. To be honest, I'm curious too. Just earlier, the president had already met with the professor. As you instructed, I deliberately provoked Min Hao. He is indeed different from those freshmen who studied combat. But honestly, I still don't understand why you care so much about him. The professor slowly speaks. And you probably haven't seen Min Hao fully unleashed yet. And do you remember your predecessor as president? Are you referring to Lu Zhang, the tall senior? Yes, he was defeated by this guy Min Hao. Hearing this, the president's smile freezes. Professor, you're not joking, right? Don't tell me senior Liu Zhang dropped out because of Min Hao. You guessed it, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it either. It was truly a beautiful scene. So, what you saw was the fully unleashed Min Hao? But what exactly did senior Liu Zhang do to make him fully unleash? Don't overthink it. That guy simply beat up Min Hao's father in front of him. Seeing his father trampled underfoot, Min Hao went completely berserk. But Liu Zhang, not knowing any better, kept provoking him. The next second, Min Hao charged at him. Liu Zhang, lying on the ground, grabbed his collar and kept cursing at him. At this point, Min Hao grabbed his wrist. With a gentle squeeze, bones cracked. Next, he rained down numerous punches on Liu Zhang. Min Hao's fists were covered in blood. That day, he truly wanted to kill Liu Zhang. If the police had arrived just 1 minute later, Min Hao would have become a murderer. This is the genius I've been desperately seeking. An only flaw is that he doesn't usually show his savage side. So no matter what method you use, you must turn him into the monster I'm expecting. This is the task I've given you. I never thought I'd become a tool for the protagonist's awakening. I really want to kill this kid right here. Min Hao also notices the subtle change in the president's expression. Hey, Min Hao, let me tell you a story that will drive you crazy. A story about someone who mistakes their enemy for their benefactor. Min Hao doesn't understand what he's talking about. Getting you into prison was actually Professor Cheng's idea. The person who beat your father and almost got sent to the afterlife by you was our department's senior, sent by Professor Cheng. Min Hao can't believe what he's hearing and roars, "You're talking nonsense. I want to go see Professor Cheng myself." Although you don't believe what I'm saying, I do like that look in your eyes. Let's do this. Last time on the roof you lasted 22 seconds. This time, if you can last 30 seconds, I'll take you to him. Saying this, he slowly takes off his jacket. If you can't hold on, I'll kill you right here. Feeling played, Min Hao charges at the president. Min Hao continuously attacks the president. The president blocks with his arms in front of his chest, but still gets injured. Looking at his injured arms, he feels like things are getting interesting. Next, he delivers a sidekick. Min Hao is sent flying by the terrifying force, sliding quite a distance before stabilizing himself. Forgot to tell you, this time I won't go easy on you. But Min Hao knows he's not the president's match yet. He can't just charge in recklessly like before. Seeing Min Hao's eyes darting around, the president knows he still hasn't awakened the crazy Min Hao. In an instant, he kicks again. Before Min Hao can stabilize himself, the president follows with another kick. The terrifying force crashes Min Hao into a nearby trash can. Min Hao can barely withstand his attacks now, but the president has no intention of giving him a chance to breathe, stepping on him directly. To sense here, you can go see Professor Chang in your next life. Just as Min Hao is about to lose consciousness, he remembers what the professor told him. Even for your father's sake, you must seize this opportunity. Thinking of this, Min Hao suddenly grips his leg tightly. The president is startled by this horrifying grip. To avoid becoming disabled, he musters all his strength and kicks Min Hao. Min Hao is kicked away again. They take me to see Professor Cheng. Of course, it's just over 30 seconds. Let's go, kid, I'll take you to see him. The scene changes. The two arrive at the professor's office. The professor looks at Min Hao. Don't just stand there, come sit down. Min Hao notices the burly man beside the professor. Was my 3-year prison sentence all orchestrated by you? That day, someone suddenly came and beat my father, and now he's in intensive care. Was all this done by you, Professor Cheng? Hearing this, Professor Cheng still denies it, but the next second, he laughs out loud. Your father's current condition is due to his own drinking, but everything else was indeed my doing. Before he finishes speaking, Min Hao clenches his fist and charges at the professor. Unexpectedly, the next second, he is pinned to the table by the burly man. The terrifying force directly cracks the table. The professor calmly says, "How dare you bypass your senior and directly challenge your teacher? Min Hao, don't blame me too much. Finding talents like you is my job. Don't forget who sent you to prison and dug you out. And your father's oxygen tube, I can remove it anytime. If you're still not satisfied, I'll find the mother who abandoned you. Of course, if you don't want me to act, prove your worth in the midterm exam. My requirement is simple. Take the first position. Until now, the students I've selected have never failed. It wasn't the case before, and it can't be in the future, you understand my meaning? As long as you get the first position, will your father's medical expenses still be a problem? Go back and think about it. I'm quite looking forward to your performance." Then the professor looks at the president. "What a pity, Zhang He. Your clever plan still didn't work. He didn't show his true face, but I didn't expect you would use his revenge against me." The president smiles slightly. "Professor, you flatter me. The old ginger is still spicier. You must have anticipated this, otherwise the senior wouldn't be by your side." The scene changes. Min Hao is still thinking about what just happened. Originally, he thought that by listening to the professor, his father would get better, and he would make many good friends. But for him now, these have all become illusions. He can only listen to Professor Cheng for now. Just as Min Hao is thinking, a can hits his head. His roommates are cracking their knuckles, ready to fight him. But the next second, Min Hao punches one in the face, then kicks the others down. In an instant, all three are on the ground. If everyone is like this, then I'll definitely take that first position. Jixian and another are discussing yesterday's events. Because Min Hao beat a second-year senior yesterday, they felt humiliated, so all freshmen have to gather again. Jixian also realizes that the days ahead won't be easy. Just then, Min Hao suddenly calls her. "Come out, I have something to talk to you about." The scene changes. Jixian wonders what Min Hao wants. "I understand what you said. You knew I was specially invited by Professor Cheng. Why did you still tell me your plan? By your tone, something must have happened yesterday? I told you because you don't look like someone repaying a debt. You look more like someone who was blackmailed into coming. Both are true, but I only found out after talking to you yesterday. So you should understand now why I want to kill Professor Cheng, right? You can help me, and I can help you escape from Professor Cheng." Hearing this, Min Hao speaks, "Since I do need your help." Then Jixian smiles slightly. "I knew you would say that. But for now, just follow Professor Cheng's orders. Obediently take the first position, otherwise you might die before that." Watching Jixian walk away, Min Hao didn't expect this woman to know so much. In the security department's gymnasium, "Welcome to the self-defense martial arts class. I'm your teacher Chen. No matter how many awards you've won or competitions you've participated in, I have zero interest. You should understand, the people you protect aren't just celebrities. Your job could cost you your life at any moment." Min Hao recalls what Jixian told him. Protecting those chemistry freaks can be deadly. "So, to keep you alive during your second-year internships, I'll train you seriously for a year. And no matter who specially invited you in, today you'll all be ranked according to your own abilities." Hearing this, the students are shocked. "I didn't expect the first class would involve ranking. All right, Assistant Chen, let's start the duels." Min Hao looks around. The factions of each professor are very distinct. Other department students are in groups. Only Min Hao is alone. Just then, the beautiful assistant calls Min Hao's name. First group, you will duel with Kuidong. Jixian's sudden appearance startles him. "Kid, the opponent you're facing is a professional fighter with many awards. I'm responsible for giving you intel. You're responsible for taking them down." Kuidong also takes his position. "Hey, Min Hao, I heard it was because the president showed up that you didn't die in the dormitory. Remember, there are many eyes watching you now. Well then, the match begins now. Min Hao has prepared himself. But seeing Min Hao's relaxed posture, Dong is a bit confused. Looking at his stance, he probably hasn't learned combat, right? For such an opponent, I only need one punch to finish him. As he finishes speaking, he swings a punch at Min Hao, followed by a second punch. When he throws the third punch, all are easily dodged by Min Hao. Dong is surprised. Was this guy pretending earlier? Min Hao looks at the incoming punches and thinks they're slow, unlike the president's, which he could see coming but couldn't dodge. At this moment, Min Hao seizes the opportunity and delivers a clean, decisive punch. Everyone is shocked by this sudden turn of events, and Dong is knocked unconscious by this single punch. Min Hao didn't expect this guy to be so fragile. The small-eyed guy is shocked. He couldn't imagine that the powerful Dong would be taken down with just one punch. Then, Min Hao whispers to Jixian, if they're all at this level, taking the first position will be easy for me. Next group, Li Lian versus Yin Hao. Then, Jixian looks at the data in her hand. Huntis Li Lian is specially invited by Professor Quan. All his students are physically strong and look healthy. And this Yin Hao is from the same professor as Dong. Before she finishes, he attacks Li Lian. With his quick and powerful leg techniques, Li Lian has no chance to counterattack and is defeated. But Min Hao feels that Yin Hao's fighting style is very similar to the president's. While he's thinking, Yin Hao approaches him. Min Hao, right? I'll definitely take the first position. At this point, the competition becomes increasingly intense. Then, a man named Jun Ying reminds another man, ain't dance when blocking, your arms should be below. But he didn't expect his kind reminder would anger the man. Us you trying to educate me? Accompanied by painful screams, this match also ends. The man's lackeys quickly flatter him. No matter how good your fighting technique is, it can't compare to your real combat experience. But in the next match, he pays a heavy price. Now Yin Hao's eyes are sharp, and Min Hao wonders why this guy keeps staring at him. Just then, Jixian's voice breaks his thoughts. This silver-haired guy is also strange. He's a fighter, but I can't find his previous match records. In this situation, he's probably invited in by an outsider. Hearing this, Min Hao interrupts her. Is it possible that he was invited by President Zhang He? I feel like this Yin Hao's fighting style is very similar to the president's. Just then, Jixian's name is called. In the next match, she will duel with Su Yan. Watching Jixian cracking her knuckles, Min Hao feels such a beautiful girl shouldn't be fighting. But the next second, Jixian takes a professional fighting stance. Jixian attacks first, but Su Yan blocks it. Then Su Yan attacks, which Jixian quickly evades. Su Yan becomes irritated with Jixian's series of attacks. Next, she delivers a heavy sidekick to Jixian. Min Hao didn't expect the turn of events to be so quick, with Jixian knocked down just like that. Then Jixian limps over. Seeing Min Hao's confusion, she explains, Sinai was recruited because of my brain, not for security work, so it doesn't matter if I can't win. But before enrollment, she did learn some fighting techniques. Just then, the assistant interrupts their conversation. Next group, Min Hao versus Yin Hao. Hearing it's these two fighting, the coach also becomes attentive. The air is filled with a heavy atmosphere. Min Hao speaks first. Don't you have anything to say to me? I don't have any grudge against you, right? Why do your eyes always want to kill me? Yin Hao's face darkens. Why did Professor Cheng invite you instead of me? I'm really curious. Hearing this, Min Hao sighs, then glares at him fiercely. What? Are you also Professor Cheng's lapdog? If so, let's stop talking and get to it. Yees. Indeed, there's nothing to say. He kicks several times in succession, but Min Hao dodges them all, just as he's momentarily distracted. Yin Hao lands a kick on his arm. Looking at his injured arm, Min Hao is now very certain. This guy's fighting style is really similar to the president's, but this guy's speed, compared to the senior, is just too slow. Min Hao kicks hard at his arm. Yin Hao is shocked, looking at his numbed arm. Then Min Hao speaks. But you resent me so much. Besides the professor's reason, it must also be because of the president, right? You don't need to know the reason. That's exactly what I wanted. I needed a practice opponent to defeat President Zhang He. Hearing this, Yin Hao was completely enraged and swung his fist at Min Hao. At that moment, Min Hao also clenched his fist. Their fists struck each other simultaneously. When he opened his eyes again, he thought he had lost the match. Then he got up and looked around. At this time, Ji Xian pointed at Yin Hao, who was lying on the ground. Since you woke up first, you should be the winner. Then she looked at Min Hao sitting on the ground. You deliberately didn't dodge that punch, didn't you? Min Hao explained that he thought his opponent was only skilled in leg techniques and hadn't expected to be knocked unconscious. Shortly after, Yin Hao also regained consciousness. Alright, everyone listen up. To know results will be sent to you later. We officially start classes next week. If you have any questions, you can contact your teaching assistants. Looking at Teacher Chen walking away, the teaching assistant slowly spoke. Until freshmen, gather on the upper floor at 6 tonight. Min Hao now realized this must be because he had fought a second-year student. The scene changes and Min Hao is still thinking about what happened these past 2 days. Then, his roommate opened the door. But before he could speak, Min Hao's cold gaze startled him. The roommate became a bit flustered. "Are you going to the rooftop gathering today? You should know why they're gathering, right? Don't you feel sorry for us? I'm telling you this for your own good. If you continue like this, not just the seniors but even students from our year will avoid you. This way, before the seniors finish us off, you'll probably be set up by others. So please, you must come." After saying this, he left with the others from their dorm, and completely changing from his previous sincere demeanor, he started cursing Min Hao with the others. Min Hao now realized that the person he had fought was actually the second-year representative. Is he also specially invited by Professor Cheng? But he doesn't seem very powerful. However, there seems to be no other way now. I can only confront the second years head-on. The scene changes, and we see the mushroom-headed second year punching Min Hao's roommate right in front of him. Meanwhile, other same-year students are doing physical exercises. The principal of our department is, one person makes a mistake, everyone gets punished, and he is your roommate Min Hao, so he's the one being punched. The mushroom head states that he's not as nice as the president. Punishing you alone wouldn't be effective, so your classmates will suffer too. Let another one come out. Hearing this, the surrounding students were too scared to move. At this time, Min Hao stood up. The mushroom head grinned smugly. "You should know, because of you, all your classmates will be disciplined all night." Before he finished speaking, he swung a punch at Yin Hao. Looking at Yin Hao, who had taken his punch, the mushroom head praised, "So you should be the strongest freshman, right?" Saying this, he moved closer to Min Hao. "You like to meddle in other people's business, don't you? Why aren't you interfering now?" At this moment, Min Hao was considering whether fighting back would make things worse for everyone. Just then, the mushroom head seemed to think of something. That defiant look yesterday was for a girl, wasn't it? Hearing this, the girl next to Ji Xian started trembling. Who was drunk that day? "Come out." Then Min Hao stopped the mushroom head. "You keep provoking me. Are you afraid you can't beat me?" Wang Chang now stared fiercely at Min Hao. "Kid, repeat what you just said." Min Hao slowly spoke. "You're holding a grudge because I beat you yesterday, right? Don't bother the others. Just hit me. This time I promise I won't fight back." Seeing this, the senior got excited. Said, "I didn't expect this year's freshman to be so eager." "All right, kid, I'll grant your wish and only hit you. If you can fight back, go ahead and try. You've been bragging about beating me since yesterday. Today I'll teach you a lesson." Min Hao looked at him calmly. "Senior, if you let me fight back, I will. But can you guarantee other seniors won't interfere?" Hearing this, Wang Chang turned and shouted, "This is a one-on-one fight between him and me. None of you interfere. Also, if you lose, your classmates are finished." Min Hao remained calm. "Then what if I beat you, senior?" Hearing this, Wang Chang laughed loudly. "So if you win, the second years will never interfere with you again." Just as Min Hao was about to make his move, a small stone hit him on the head. Beside him, Ji Xian signaled him not to do anything foolish. Although he felt bad for acting without consulting Ji Xian, Min Hao had his own considerations. He then swung his fist at Wang Chang. Wang Chang, trying to dodge, countered with an elbow strike. Min Hao reacted and struck back. Unexpectedly, Wang Chang ducked and avoided it. Then, Wang Chang punched him in the waist. Min Hao backed up several steps from the blow. Just as he rushed toward Wang Chang, surprisingly, Wang Chang threw off his clothes, fainted, and grabbed Min Hao's hood, directly kneeing him. As Wang Chang pressed his advantage, Min Hao imitated his technique, directly dodging a punch. At this time, his roommate called out, "So Min Hao, since it's already come to this, you must win." Min Hao was puzzled. How could such soft punches be so powerful? What exactly did this school teach? It seems that when the president fought me yesterday, he must have been holding back tremendously. What should I do? Our school doesn't allow surrender. Min Hao indicated he could still fight. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed at Wang Chang. However, it wasn't effective, as Wang Chang's attacks landed solidly. Just when everyone thought this punch would finish Min Hao, he unexpectedly grabbed Wang Chang's collar. Min Hao's pupils disappeared, entering a frenzied state. He delivered a heavy punch to Wang Chang, and everyone's jaws dropped in shock. No one expected such a quick reversal. Wang Chang was knocked unconscious by Min Hao's single punch. The frenzied Min Hao regained his senses. And as expected of the second-year representative, I really underestimated him. After saying that, he tossed Wang Chang aside. He looked back. "So, according to our agreement earlier, let's go down." Just as the long-haired man tried to stop them, he was pulled back by someone nearby. "Let them go. We're about to be in trouble." The scene changes. Because of Min Hao, everyone got a temporary reprieve. Just then, Min Hao looked back. He saw Ji Xian glaring at him angrily. "What were you thinking? Why didn't you listen to me?" Min Hao told her. He was fully confident he could defeat the second-year representative, so honor days would be better from now on. Hearing this, Ji Xian sighed helplessly. "This is all my fault. I didn't expect you to have such a stupid idea." Don't you know, representative and chief are two different positions, and the representative only stays at school to handle miscellaneous affairs. The real second-year seed players have all gone out on missions, and the first thing those people will do when they return is probably look for you. They are the true representatives of the second year's strength. They're on their way back to school after completing their mission. At this time, Li Jie hadn't expected to face drug addicts on this mission, and was injured due to carelessness. Hearing this, Su Jing looked back. Shut up, will you? Dealing with such small fry and you still got injured? Aren't you ashamed? Then Li Jie looked at her. You say that now, but won't you regret it? I'm about to die and you still talk like that. Next, Su Jing moved closer with a wicked smile. Do you want me to help make that a reality? Hearing this, Li Jie panicked and called for everyone to pull this maniac away. Su Jing turned to ask, and upon learning they were about to reach the hospital, she immediately drew her knife. Accompanied by Li Jie's screams, the car arrived at the school hospital. At this time, Su Jing was still waiting for her teammate. Then, someone walked out of the hospital. She turned and asked, "How's that guy? He lost too much blood and died." Learning the result, Su Jing's eyes widened like eggs. Seeing her reaction, the man revealed the truth. "Sin, I was just joking. Such a minor injury is nothing for our school's medical department. But you're so concerned about him, yet you still make that kind of joke?" Su Jing smiled wickedly. "I just thought if he were the first one killed by me, it would be disgusting. Besides, I've already got a target for my first time." The man then informed her that Wang Cheng had been defeated by a freshman named Min Hao, and that he had promised that second years wouldn't bother first years anymore. "But no matter what, you're the second year chief." Hearing this, Su Jing also planned to meet this person called Min Hao. The scene changes. Now Ji Xian is introducing Su Jing's background to Min Hao. Su Jing was also specially invited by Professor Cheng. She's been the chief since entering school, and was the first freshman in history to join second years on missions. Then Min Hao looked at Ji Xian. And is this person stronger than the president? But Ji Xian didn't know which of them was stronger, only that this woman was more dangerous. Senior Su Jing has antisocial personality disorder. Unlike the president, she doesn't need a reason to fight. And I heard that even the president can't control her, so in the future, whenever you see Senior Su Jing, you should stay far away. Then Min Hao looked at Ji Xian. Then, show me her photo so I can recognize her face and avoid her. Anyway, just look for someone who looks like a lunatic, and that's probably her. Just as Ji Xian was about to take out her phone to show Min Hao the photo, she was stunned by what she saw. The woman they were just talking about was right in front of them. "I see you coming from Building C. Are you new students from the guard department?" Min Hao sensed trouble. This person must be a lunatic. "Are you the Min Hao they're talking about?" Just as Ji Xian was caught off guard by this sudden question, Min Hao spoke up. "So I'm not the person you're talking about. He might be behind us." After saying this, the two prepared to leave. Just when they thought they had escaped, a knife flew toward them and stuck in the ground. Min Hao thought he had been exposed. But unexpectedly, Su Jing coldly said, couples should all die." Hearing this, the two were shocked. Indeed, just like the rumors, she attacks without any reason. As Su Jing came closer, Min Hao shouted for Ji Xian to back away quickly. Before he finished, Su Jing kicked out. Then came a stylish spin, using the rotation's momentum to sweep with another kick. Min Hao was confused. Why was this woman fighting so seriously? Then Su Jing stopped. "And you kid, your skills aren't bad, but are you really not that guy called Min Hao?" She looked at the boy. "What's your name? Are you better than that Min Hao?" Looking at this crazy woman in front of him, Min Hao was certain. This person and that second-year representative were not on the same level. Maybe he should have listened to Ji Xian and avoided her. But avoiding problems wasn't Min Hao's style. Just as Min Hao was about to reveal his identity, Su Jing interrupted him by answering her phone. She was surprised that the aloof president would call her, inviting her to a place. After saying this, she turned and left, leaving the two in a daze. Min Hao sighed helplessly. "Oh, just left like that? What a lunatic." Then he looked around, wondering if Senior Zhang he knew about this and was helping him behind the scenes. It seemed unlikely. While he was thinking, Ji Xian questioned, Min Hao, were you really about to fight the senior just now?" Seeing Min Hao's helpless face, Tinai had no choice. "I almost exposed myself." "All right, don't be angry, let's quickly go back to the dorm. Who knows if that woman will come back." But what the two didn't expect was that there were seniors who had just completed missions at the bottom of the dormitory, and they were carefully inquiring about Min Hao's whereabouts. It seems there's no way to avoid this, and they can only face it. Then, Ji Xian stopped Min Hao from such a crazy idea and said they could only contact Professor Cheng now. "I know you definitely don't want to, but we have no other choice." But Min Hao responded, "You can't understand the feeling of being threatened with your father's life. Rather than asking him for help, I'd rather die at the hands of the seniors." Just as Min Hao was preparing to face this alone, Ji Xian grabbed him. "I told you before I came to this school to kill him, right?" She told Min Hao that she could come here because her parents were minor shareholders in the school. "And my brother was also a student in the guard department. Although he was also specially invited, he was never a villain. It was only after I was bullied in middle school that my brother started clearing out those so-called school bullies. Although I was worried about him fighting every day, I also felt what he was doing was righteous. Until one day he told us he had been specially invited to the guard department. And at that time, I didn't understand why my parents were so worried when they heard this news. But later I understood. In the 2 years after entering school, my brother seemed to become a different person. Or rather, he became a monster. And at the beginning of this year, he disappeared. But my dad and mom remained silent about this. Later I understood, there's no law that can help you here. And the instigator of all this is Professor Cheng, who invited my brother here. If he's still alive, he should be the fourth year chief. Min Hao looked at Ji Xian. I understand what you mean. For you, seeking Professor Cheng's help doesn't feel right either, right? Just then, Ji Xian interrupted Min Hao. That's part of the reason. But the most important thing is, do you know that every time you fight, you seem to become a different person? I think you know, so you're avoiding fights. You think you're fighting for justice, but the more fights you get into, someday you'll become another person, just like my brother. So this time, please, endure it once. This way, we can get revenge on Professor Cheng. The scene changes. On the table are the files of Liu Jiang and Ji Xian. The president never expected these two to be siblings. Because of Liu Jiang, Min Hao went to prison, and he became a cripple abandoned by the professor. Seuss is getting more and more interesting. At this time, multiple messages from Su Jing appear on the president's phone. It turns out that after Zhang he sent her away, he didn't go to their appointment. Now this woman wants to kill the president. He smilingly answered the girl's call. Su Jing, I just had something urgent. Before he finished, roaring sounds came from the other end. After exchanging a few pleasantries, the president hurriedly hung up. At this time, Su Jing, who had been played by the president, looked extremely cold. Does this crazy woman really think I'd call just to see her? I'm just afraid Min Hao would be killed by her. Now I just don't know if those people at the dorm can make Min Hao show his true face. Just as the president was about to leave, a voice stopped him. Want to go back to the dorm together? Also, why can't I reach you by phone? The president looked back. It was in Qingming. Why do you think? Of course, because I've blocked you. Hearing this, and Qingming was stunned. So that was why he couldn't reach him since last year? Then he informed the president. Your guard department students are walking back and forth in the corridor, making other students very nervous. The president stated that he didn't know about this, and besides, they're just walking around, not hitting anyone. Telling me is useless. Why don't you go talk to them yourself? Seeing the unaware Quan, he really wanting to intervene in this matter. The president's smile instantly disappeared. You've straightened your back since transferring to the secretary department, huh? Seeing the president approaching step by step, and Qingming quickly gave in, and even used the professor as a shield. Then the president sighed. Don't you get tired of hiding behind the professor all day? The scene changes. Min Hao is now dialing Professor Cheng's number. He didn't expect Ji Xian to remain so calm in such a situation. Just then, Ji Xian suddenly turned around, startling Min Hao. He thought she had discovered him thinking about her. But Ji Xian asked him to come look. Those seniors all seemed to have withdrawn, and classmates said those in the dormitory were also gone. At this moment, Min Hao's phone suddenly rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Min Hao answered, and the president's voice came from the other end. He told Min Hao not to do anything extra, and to hide in the laundry room for a while, then return after lights out. Min Hao realized that the president had also called away senior Su Jing. The scene changes. Min Hao arrived at the laundry room as the president instructed. This must be because of Professor Cheng's influence. Although he didn't want to admit it, the senior really helped a lot this time. But the appearance of 3 people shattered his previous thoughts. Finally caught you. So you really are here. Min Hao stared at the 3 in shock. It seemed he had been sold out by the president. You're that Min Hao, right? No matter how much you look down on seniors, you shouldn't humiliate us. Min Hao still tried to reason. Didn't we agree you wouldn't bother us anymore? You mean that guy Wang Qiang? Don't worry, I'll educate him after dealing with you. As he said this, he approached Min Hao. The man behind him reminded him to be careful. After all, this kid was invited by Professor Cheng, definitely not simple. Ji Xian, it seems what you said doesn't work. In this school, confrontation can't be avoided. As Min Hao was distracted, the man attacked him. But Min Hao dodged in time. Min Hao punched him in the chin. As the baseball cap fell off, a bald egg-shaped head was exposed. Then, the man adjusted his stance and swung several punches at Min Hao. This kid is finished now. He hates it most when people see his baldness. As said, the man continued to attack Min Hao furiously. At this time, the other man asked Baldy to stop, but he was too enraged to listen, roaring as he threw a punch at Min Hao. Unexpectedly, Min Hao caught it steadily. Then he countered with a punch. Baldy looked at Min Hao. You kid are indeed powerful. Wang Qiang's loss wasn't undeserved. Now it's time to taste my fist. Min Hao was also breathing heavily. Before he finished, someone pushed open the door. It was Quan He, who had just met the president. Seeing someone come in, the baseball cap man reminded him, "It's past laundry time now. If you have nothing to do, please leave." But Quan, he squatted down and calmly stated that he had a habit of cleaning dirty things on the spot. Hearing this, the man said, "Sure, you're just garbage that Teacher Chen doesn't care about. Go cool off somewhere else." Before he finished, he was punched flying and fell unconscious in the corner. The one who had just attacked was Quan He, whom he had verbally taunted. The man glared at Quan He. "What exactly do you want to do?" I said, "I just came to wash clothes." Before he finished, the yellow-haired guy attacked him. However, Quan He wasn't afraid of his soft punches at all and directly caught it. Then he knocked the yellow-haired guy down with one punch. The man rushed over, "And do you know the consequences of what you're doing?" But in the next second, he was thrown to the ground by Quan He. In just a few breaths, the seed players who had been so arrogant were all unconscious. Then, Quan He bent down to pick up his bucket. "Forget it, I'll wash tomorrow." Before leaving, he reminded the still dazed Min Hao, "Hurry back to the dorm. No one should bother you now." Looking at Quan He's departing figure, he suddenly remembered the opening day. It was also him who reminded him he was indeed at the welcome meeting that day. But why wasn't he a guard department student anymore? The next day, Min Hao told Jixian everything that happened last night. Jixian smiled slightly. Fortunately, the secretary department stepped in timely. "Is this the only method you mentioned yesterday? Now you've attracted a lot of attention, but this can actually be used to our advantage." Seeing Min Hao's confused face, Jixian was completely puzzled. "You don't even know about the secretary department? Isn't it in the school introduction? It says that we're now called the guard secretary department." Jixian sighed. "Last time I told you the guard department is the most famous nationwide. So after the merger with the secretary department, they all looked down on the secretary department." Just then, a voice interrupted their conversation. It was Li Lian, who had been kicked unconscious by Yin Hao. "You two, that's not a park bench. If you want to chat, go somewhere else." The two didn't want to bother with him and just walked away. Then Min Hao inquired, "Chen, I think that senior Quan He is much stronger than those seed players." "You're right. The guard department is responsible for external security, while the secretary department is responsible for the safety of the group's top management. So the secretary department's abilities are definitely not inferior to the guard department's. The reason they have no presence now is because of political stance issues between professors. Also, the senior who saved you yesterday is the second-year chief of the secretary department. If he stepped in, it's a good sign. So now do you understand my method of getting rid of Professor Cheng? But to transfer departments, we need to wait until the second year. And that old man won't stand by idly either." Before she finished, Jixian shouted for Min Hao to dodge. A huge dumbbell crashed at his feet. Then, Min Hao looked back. The man who threw the dumbbell was still claiming it was an accident. Min Hao now realized he was being targeted more and more obviously. However, the man didn't want to let him go. He verbally provoked Min Hao's roommate, trying to use him to harm Min Hao. But the roommate didn't want to do this, stating he didn't really dislike Min Hao. Hearing this, the man grabbed his hair. His words were full of mockery and humiliation. Seeing this, Min Hao's face instantly darkened. This reminded him of his high school days. Back then, Min Hao also witnessed a similar situation to today. The past seemed like it just happened yesterday. Min Hao walked over despite Jixian's restraint. "These trash, if not cleaned up, will contaminate others. Stop it right now, Zhang Tifan. That's not a park bench. Get you up." That was the first day of high school. A guy with slicked back hair approached Min Hao. "Shay, heard you're Min Hao from Baigu Middle School, right? Rumor has it you're quite famous in your area." Hearing this, Min Hao looked at him with a dark face. Seeing this, the slicked back hair guy quickly explained, "Don't misunderstand, you're famous as a fighting maniac. I don't dare to provoke you. I just want to be friends with someone as powerful as you." Then, Min Hao flatly stated, "And then there's no need. I don't fight anymore." "Bets, is that so? Then you won't interfere if I become the class boss, right?" Min Hao didn't want to answer this question. Seeing what seemed like tacit agreement, the slicked back hair guy laughed happily. He turned and started bullying classmates. And now, the man in front of Min Hao was just like the slicked back hair guy in high school, always stepping on others. "Min Hao, people always think you love to stand up for others, but I know what kind of person you are. I've inquired about you. They say you were quite famous in Anshan. Su and I are the same, both fighting maniacs. So stop using those righteous reasons to look for fights everywhere." At this time, Jixian and the other two also heard what Zhang Tifan said. "Whenever someone slightly powerful does something you Min Hao don't like, don't you always handle them like a justice enforcer? And those who didn't get a satisfying fight with you, you don't know what they'll do you? You hypocritical person." Before he finished, he attacked Min Hao, but Min Hao dodged it directly. Then Min Hao hit him with a punch. Min Hao followed with another punch, which was blocked, but his punch sent the other flying. Now Zhang Tifan looked at his numbed arm, his face darkening. Then he unsportingly pulled out a fruit knife from his pocket and swung it at Min Hao. Min Hao looked at him fiercely. "You're really despicable. You're too naive. Did you really think they'd teach you fair and square fighting here? Since you were also specially invited, you and I are the same type of person." Then he swung his knife. But unexpectedly, he was pinned to the ground by Min Hao in the next second. "You're right, I am the same type as you." Hearing Min Hao say this, Zhang Tifan panicked completely. "You're not like me, I misspoke earlier, and I won't let you hurt anyone with this again. Do you want to know why? Back in high school, when he saw classmates bullying others, Min Hao couldn't hold back and chose to help." The slicked-back hair guy roared. "Didn't you say you wouldn't interfere?" Before he finished, Min Hao punched him in the face. Seeing this, his underlings abandoned their boss and ran away. They hadn't expected the monster like Min Hao to get involved. Later, not long after this incident, a group of people surrounded him. Seeing so many people, Min Hao wasn't scared at all. Instead, he coldly smiled. This kind of person should have been cleaned up thoroughly back then. "So you don't understand me at all, kid." Just as Min Hao was about to step into the abyss, Xixian appeared and saved him. "If you continue like this, you'll forever lose the chance to transfer to the secretary department." Hearing this, Min Hao calmed down. He didn't know what had come over him. Because of what happened in the laundry room, the three were called by the president. "So I can't believe you three were knocked down by a single Quan He. Don't you feel ashamed? If I were you, I wouldn't have the face to stand here." Hearing this, the man argued, "To Quan He is the second-year chief. He only lost to Su Jing back then." The president interrupted the three. "Shut up. Starting tomorrow, you three don't need to go on missions anymore. Also, tell teaching assistant Wen to find 3 replacement names for me. I won't report yesterday's incident to Professor Cheng." Hearing this, the three bowed and thanked him, then quickly left. The president pondered, "Does the secretary department want Min Hao?" The scene changes. "I thought we could make money once we reach second year. Now that's ruined too." The yellow-haired guy was also confused. The secretary department clearly attacked first. How did we three end up being punished? What else could it be? Must be something between the professors. "You two go back first. I need to settle a personal score with Min Hao." Meanwhile, Min Hao was still recalling what happened today. At this time, Xixian called, but Min Hao didn't want to answer. His thoughts had been drawn back to that night in high school. That day, like usual, Dad came home from work and brought fried chicken and cake. Min Hao was confused. What important day is today? His dad looked embarrassed. "Today is the 200th day I promised you I'd quit drinking, so I wanted to celebrate with you simply." Hearing this, Min Hao was surprised. "Dad, have you been counting the days?" Then Dad sat beside him. "Of course, that's our promise." Min Hao, feeling guilty, told his dad he had fought at school again. "You're keeping your promise, but I couldn't keep mine." Hearing this, Dad patted his shoulder. "As I didn't use quitting drinking as a condition for you not to fight. I haven't taken good care of you since you were little. It's my fault." Hearing this, Min Hao remembered the reason his father drank. It must have been after Mom abandoned them without reason. Dad smiled slightly. "So I believe my son has his reasons. Besides, this is your first fight in high school, right? Compared to the you who used to cause trouble every day, you're already trying hard to change. All right, don't think too much. Get up and eat fried chicken." Min Hao now recalled everything from before. He looked at his phone. He had already promised his father not to fight anymore. Just then, a voice broke his thoughts. "Min Hao, Xixian asked me to find you. Call her back. Are you worried she was scared by your fighting style just now?" "To be honest, it scared me too. But after all, you did it for me. You should explain it to her properly. She's waiting for you in Building C. Go when you're ready." The scene changes, and Min Hao is now on his way to meet Xixian. His mind is filled with what Xixian said to him. "I don't want you to become like my brother." He's wondering if Xixian might stop working with him. Just as he's worrying, 2 voices call out to him. Coming toward him are Quan He and Gao Qingming. "Min Hao, if you're not busy, come chat with us for a bit." Meanwhile, Xixian is still thinking about what happened today. Was she wrong about Min Hao? Just then, a voice calls out to her. "Xixian, I have something to tell you. Come with me for a moment." Back to the other side, the 2 seniors introduce themselves. "I'm the president of the secretary department. My name isn't Qingming. The one behind me is the top second-year student. I believe you've already met him." Following that, Min Hao thanks Quan He for his help. "It was nothing. Don't worry about it." Just then, Gao Qingming interrupts Quan He. How can he not worry? Who knows if Zhang He will declare war on us because of yesterday? Then, Quan He calmly states, "Stop exaggerating. Professor Chung won't allow them to do that. And if you had strongly opposed me at that time, I definitely wouldn't have gone. If anyone asks, I'll say you ordered me to do it. Don't think you can wash your hands of this." Alright, enough joking. The current issue is that Zhang He probably already knows we want to recruit you into the secretary department. I don't know if you understand yet. The guard department and secretary department are actually opposing forces. Both the professors and students want to defeat each other. Min Hao, you've been at odds with the guard department since your first day. Got into a fight, right? So we in the secretary department need new students like you who have a rebellious spirit. Hearing this, Min Hao began to think. I've actually been waiting for your invitation because I thought in this school full of garbage, you might be able to help me. But I think because of what happened this morning, I probably don't qualify anymore. But the two were made uncomfortable by Min Hao's answer. They then burst into laughter. You might have misunderstood. The secretary and guard departments are opposing forces not because we're good people. In this school, there's no such thing as justice, but the guard department are definitely the bad guys. We want you in our department because you have enough ability, and you've clearly shown your disgust for the guard department. Hearing this, he nodded in agreement. Then, Gao Qingming continued saying he had a way to rescue Min Hao's father. This matter is difficult, but there are still some approaches we can take. Hearing this news, Min Hao excitedly stood up. Gao Qingming gestured for Min Hao to calm down, saying Professor Cheng is someone other professors are wary of. The only solution is to find the director who's dissatisfied with Professor Cheng's teaching methods. This person is even more formidable than Professor Cheng. I can't reveal more details. Remember, don't tell anyone about this. If it reaches Professor Cheng's ears, who knows what might happen to your father? The scene changes, and now Ji Xian is waiting for Min Hao. Then he comes running over, out of breath. Ji Xian slowly speaks. You didn't even answer your phone earlier. What do you want now? It's nothing really. Just that, on my way to find you, I met the president of the secretary department. Although they told me not to tell anyone about them inviting me to join. But since it's you, I wanted to tell you. Before he could finish, Ji Xian interrupted him. Don't say any more, I don't want to know. Min Hao thinks Ji Xian must still be angry about what happened earlier. So he says, I asked them to let you transfer with me, because I think the secretary department would be better for revenge. Hearing this, Ji Xian interrupted him. Getting into the secretary department isn't easy. Why would you ask for such a thing? After saying this, she turned and left. Min Hao doesn't understand what's wrong with Ji Xian today. It turns out that before meeting Min Hao, the president had found her. You're quite brave coming to the place where your brother died. You want revenge on Professor Cheng, right? But don't worry, I won't tell him. I just need to do my job. Also, I can provide you with intelligence, but you need to do something for me. The president then moved closer. Do you want to know why your brother was killed by the professor? Shall I tell you? Miss Ji Xian, just recently, in an abandoned warehouse, 2 organizations were conducting an underground transaction. The scarred man was the buyer of the goods. He slowly opened the box and discovered that he had never seen this sample before. Seeing the scarred man's confusion, the man with glasses spoke up. This item was newly developed by our Hualong University. Compared to before, it's more hallucinogenic and addictive, and so far we haven't found any side effects. Then the scarred man asked, Have you sold this to anyone else? The man with glasses smiled slightly. Not yet. You're our first customer. Before he finished speaking, the scarred man stood up abruptly. Are you treating us like lab rats? If something goes wrong with this, what happens to my business? Then, the glasses man quickly explained, You should trust Professor Ma's ability. We're doing this to provide you with better products. At this point, the scarred man had something else in mind. He wanted to buy these items at half the usual price, but he was refused with the reason that they would sell to others at a higher price later. Hearing this, his eyes scanned the surroundings. He noticed that all the people protecting the transaction today were unfamiliar faces. So, he wanted to take the goods without paying a penny. Before he finished speaking, one of his men jumped on the table, preparing to attack the glasses man. But unexpectedly, he was thrown to the ground by Su Jing. On the other side, the bald guy swung a knife at the boy. But the next second, he was subdued by the seemingly frail boy. Seeing this, the scarred man immediately ordered the man beside him to call for help. But when he opened the window, the scene before him made his jaw drop. The brothers who were just full of vigor were now all beaten to the ground. You guys never intended to trade with us from the beginning, did you? Then the subordinate told the scarred man what he had seen. Learning the situation, the scarred man pulled out a small knife, ready to fight to the death. But unexpectedly, his attack was easily dodged. Next, his leg was slashed by Su Jing. Then Su Jing pressed down on him. At this point, the scarred man, in order to save his life, spoke up. He just wanted to test the new recruit's abilities. Because he heard that the guy called Zhang he wouldn't be coming this year. So he wanted to test their abilities. After all, he needed to ensure the safety of the transaction. Right? Then, Su Jing looked at him coldly. So are you satisfied with the test results? Don't worry, I'll make sure you remember this transaction. After that, Zai Jun was at a loss due to Su Jing's crazy actions. The scene changes, and now Professor Cheng is deep in thought looking at the content on his phone. This Su Jing is truly an uncompromising madman. At this point, the president looks at the professor. The number of incidents this year is increasing. We should protest to the engineering department. These negotiators they've sent recently are too weak. Hearing this, the professor smiled slightly. I think it's because you're not there. You being the president of the guard department is good for me. But for missions, the scene is somewhat strained. Then, the president indicated that it would be better if he went to the scene himself, because he dislikes it when others surpass him. By the way, how's that Min Hao guy? This kid's potential still needs time to be awakened. At this moment, the president's phone received a message from Ji Xian. The secretary department seems to be trying to recruit Min Hao. Seeing this, the president immediately suggested to the professor, how about letting Min Hao go on a mission? Back then, Su Jing went when she was just a first-year student. You should know the effect. The professor looked back. These two have never gotten along. What can you do if they meet outside? Actually, I don't have a good solution either. In this situation, Min Hao either becomes stronger or goes to hell. Regardless, if we leave him alone, he'll be poached by the Secretary Department. Hearing this, the professor's face darkened. What exactly does the Secretary Department want to do? On the other side, Ji Xian is still thinking about what the president told her. I'm sorry about your brother. That was a few months ago. The last battle between Senior Lu Jiang and that person? But your brother didn't actually want to fight. He was just following Professor Cheng's orders, wanting to test that person's abilities. For some unknown reason, that person suddenly went berserk, beating Senior Liu Jiang, and almost beat your brother to death. If Professor Cheng hadn't called the police in time, the senior might have lost his life then. Hearing this, Ji Xian's nose stung with emotion. Seeing the effect was good, the president continued to twist the truth. Although your brother barely survived, he became paralyzed as a result. What kind of person would do such a thing? Then Ji Xian wiped her tears. You mean, I shouldn't seek revenge on Professor Cheng, but find that person instead? The president looked at Ji Xian. If you were the professor, what would you do? You should know. The other professors are all watching him like tigers eyeing their prey. If news of your brother, the third-year top student, getting hurt leaked out, you should know the consequences. So from Professor Cheng's position, eliminating your brother without leaking the news is understandable. As he finished speaking, Ji Xian's face darkened. What are you saying? You think these kinds of things are justified? So tell me quickly who that person is. At this point, the president leaned down and told Ji Xian an answer she never expected in her life. The person who did this to your brother is Min Hao. Now that you know the reason, I hope when you're with him, you'll tell me everything about Min Hao's movements without missing a word, especially anything related to the Secretary Department. The scene changes, and now Min Hao is still thinking about what happened today. It felt like Ji Xian had become a different person. He doesn't know exactly what happened. Min Hao feels that Ji Xian has put him in the same category as those trash, so she doesn't want to deal with him anymore. Just as he was still troubled, his roommate called out to him. Hearing this, Min Hao sat up excitedly, thinking it was Ji Xian looking for him. But to his surprise, his roommate was actually inviting him to go for drinks. From his roommate, he learned that a second-year senior wanted to talk to Min Hao, so they arranged this gathering. However, when Min Hao learned that Ji Xian might not be going, he lost interest in going. But he didn't know how to refuse. Just then, his phone suddenly rang. He saw a message from Quan He, inviting him to meet at the gym when free. Then he put on his clothes and told his roommate he had plans and couldn't go for drinks. Watching Min Hao leave, his roommate was quite helpless. This guy really does whatever he wants. The scene changes. Min Hao arrives at the gym as agreed, but he wonders what business Quan He has calling him over so late. Quan He slowly takes off his clothes. If you want to join the Secretary Department, you can't waste a single minute now. Attack me with all your strength. After repeatedly confirming that using full strength was okay, Min Hao immediately throws a punch. Quan He is puzzled by the force of his punch. Min Hao explains, this isn't a real fight, so he obviously can't use his full strength. Hearing this, Quan He clenches his fist and throws a punch at Min Hao. The terrifying force sends him flying. Then he extends his hand to Min Hao. Are you okay? I just used the same force as you to strike back. You've probably never been hit before coming to this school, have you? Previously, you might have been able to end fights with 1 or 2 hits. But that doesn't work here. What you need now isn't fighting techniques, but learning how to take hits. So I'm sorry, but you'll have to practice enduring hits first. Just recently, Min Hao showed up in the classroom covered in injuries. Ji Xian was stunned seeing this, and his roommate was also confused, having never seen Min Hao injured like this before. At this point, Ji Xian suddenly remembered the message she sent to the president yesterday. She feels that Min Hao might be injured because of her, but she doesn't know that Min Hao's condition is completely voluntary. Just last night, Quan He swung his fist at Min Hao, but he instinctively dodged it. Quan He was a bit startled by Min Hao's actions. Then Quan He hit him on the head with his fist. Why did you dodge again? We're practicing how to take hits. Then Min Hao looks helpless. Your punch was too obvious. My body dodged it instinctively. At this point, Quan He interrupted him. Do you know another reason why we train to take hits? If you want to enter the Secretary Department, you can't avoid punches that come at you anytime. The Guard Department and Secretary Department have different jobs. We're responsible for protecting officials, blocking punches coming their way. What happens if you hide behind them? The official you're supposed to protect takes the hit, but that's not the most important thing. If you really dodge, those officials would be very unhappy. So students in the Secretary Department, to please them, can't dodge their punches. Now you know why there are fewer people in the Secretary Department, right? How about it? Want to change your mind? Min Hao calmly responded, I have no choice now. That's why his face is now swollen like a pig's head. Then he looked back, thinking he should tell Ji Xian about this. The scene changes, and now Ji Xian tells the president that Min Hao hasn't disclosed information to anyone. Hearing this, Zhang is very surprised. He thought Ji Xian and Min Hao would tell each other everything. Then he moved closer. If you want to know more about your brother, You should be more active in getting me information about Min Hao. At this point, Ji Xian glares at the president. Are you going to continue beating Min Hao? Hearing this, the president is confused. When did I beat Min Hao? Then Ji Xian looks at him. I've thought it through. I'll find out about my brother myself. And thank you for the previous intelligence. I'll repay you in other ways. After saying this, Ji Xian turns and leaves. The president's face darkens. Is she also going to join the secretary department with Min Hao? Saying this, he takes out his phone and calls Zai Jun. Meanwhile, when Zai Jun hears that the president is sending a new student to carry out a mission, he's very unwilling. But when he hears the president say this person is as capable as Su Jing, he gets excited. And Su Jing nearby has probably already guessed who it is. When she confirms it's Min Hao, Su Jing smiles mischievously, making Zai Jun beside her a bit confused. The scene changes. When learning that Min Hao will replace him for the mission, the man kicks over a nearby table. Why send that guy? While the yellow-haired man beside him tells him, we're just disposable pawns, the senior and professor are just using us to stimulate Min Hao. Hearing this, the bald man squeezes his hat tightly. These guys are treating us like monkeys. So, we must do something. We can't just sit and wait. Just recently, this group was still gathering at a restaurant. Kuidong suddenly stands up and looks at Min Hao. I heard you're going on a guard mission? What method did you use to get selected? You should know that even second-year seniors might not complete this. At this point, the purple-haired girl chimes in. He probably passed some test, right? However, Min Hao indicates that's not the case. Then he looks at his roommate. Didn't you say there would only be 3 or 4 people? Why are there suddenly so many? His roommate looks helpless. He also didn't know Min Hao would bring such explosive news. And every professor's students have their own group chat network. Only you, the lonely one, don't have one. Just then, Min Hao notices Yin Hao with a dark face nearby. This guy hates me so much. Is he trying to gather them to eliminate me? And Ji Xian really didn't come. He has so many things he wants to ask her. Then Kuidong asks Min Hao again, are you the only one selected to go on the mission? Faced with this boring question, Min Hao calmly responds, I'm not interested in this kind of mission anyway. If any of you want to go, just go. Just then, the purple-haired girl interrupts Kuidong. Don't think about it. Do you think you can replace the top student in the grade? Before she finishes, Kuidong looks at Yin Hao nearby. He's tied for first place with Min Hao. Why can't he go? Hearing this, Yin Hao sighs helplessly. You should know. Grades don't matter. The professor we chose at the beginning was wrong. The former Zhang He and senior Su Jing, including the current Min Hao. The reason they can participate in missions as first-year students is all because of Professor Cheng. Hearing this, everyone finally realizes. So discouraging, I thought after being selected by Professor Li my life would get better. Saying this, he stands up and looks at Min Hao. How exactly did you catch Professor Cheng's eye? Is it because your parents have a strong background? At this moment, Min Hao is pulled back into that painful memory by his words. Then, he grabs Kuidong's collar. Keep your mouth shut about things you don't understand. Then, his roommate quickly holds back the about-to-lose-control Min Hao. Just then, the food they ordered is served, but before anyone can take a bite, their phones receive messages. Seeing everyone getting up, Min Hao doesn't know what's happening. At this point, the pineapple-headed guy tells him it's their professors requiring new students to gather immediately. Then Min Hao checks his phone. He doesn't have a message. At this point, the purple-haired girl calls out to Min Hao. They've all left. Have a drink with me. My name is Li Enfei. Are you willing to get along well with me? Just as Min Hao is at a loss, the president calls. Using this opportunity, he scurries away. And the president on the other end is confused. Why is this guy so happy to answer the phone? The scene changes. As required by the president, Min Hao comes to the rooftop. Senior, what did you want to see me about? The president looks back. Do you have a dual personality? Where did that happy tone from earlier go? Then Min Hao asks, did you betray me in the laundry room last time, senior? What do you mean betray you? Don't you know that thanks to me you can participate in a mission as a first-year student? I know you don't really want to go. But didn't you promise Professor Cheng that you'd follow arrangements? All right, don't think too much. Your classmates are all envious of you. Just as the president was about to leave, first and second-year students led by the bald guy suddenly rushed in. Min Hao looks back. They're all familiar faces from the dinner just now. This group blocks the way, surrounding the president and Min Hao. At this point, the bald guy speaks up. I just heard that Senior and Min Hao were here, so I came to see you. The president is composed, you idiot. You didn't just bring a bunch of freshmen and sophomores to just see me, did you? Min Hao, can you handle these first years by yourself? Then, the bald guy doesn't bother to explain further, immediately giving the order, brothers. Time to act. At that moment, Min Hao didn't think he'd be able to fight alongside the president one day. Min Hao's roommate immediately doesn't know what to do. He thought it was just a simple gathering earlier. But now they're asked to attack Min Hao, and even take action against the president. Although they don't understand what's happening, those two together could easily handle everyone present. Just then, the bald guy commands, telling them to eliminate Min Hao first, saying after today they'll change the school's history. With wolves in front and tigers behind, after an internal struggle, he dashes forward. As the saying goes, the bird that sticks its head out gets shot. With one punch, he's knocked down by Min Hao. Then, the roommate lies on the ground pretending to be unconscious. At this point, everyone is calculating their own moves. Seeing this, Min Hao pushes aside Kuidong, muttering, "This is an opportunity, we must seize it. Don't come over, I can handle it alone." Hearing this, Kuidong also makes up his mind. If he beats Min Hao, he can replace him for the mission. Then, the yellow-haired guy turns back and shouts angrily, telling those who aren't moving to hurry up. Forced by circumstances, the remaining two have no choice but to charge forward. Just then, Jiang Tifen calls out to the yellow-haired guy, "Can I kill that Min Hao guy?" At this, the yellow-haired guy looks back. Whatever, this psycho. While they're talking, fighting has already begun on the other side. Min Hao quickly takes down two people. Then Kuidong throws a punch. Min Hao can't dodge in time and can only take the hit. Just as he thinks his attack is effective, unexpectedly, Min Hao immediately punches back, knocking him out. Next is Yin Hao, the strongest. He initiates an attack first, but Min Hao takes it head on. Then, he looks at the president nearby. "Senior, am I better than I was in high school?" The next second, he's humiliated. The president slowly speaks, "What's wrong with Min Hao? Not dodging such obvious attacks." Hearing this, Yin Hao, eager to prove himself, throws a punch at him, and Min Hao takes it directly, followed by Min Hao's heavy punch, directly knocking Yin Hao to the ground. Just as he's thinking about how effective Quan He's training has been, he doesn't notice someone appearing behind him. Seeing this, his roommate who is pretending to be unconscious shouts a warning to Min Hao, but the distance is too close, it's too late. The president also didn't expect this to happen. "You despicable guy, ambushing. It doesn't matter what you say, I succeeded." Just then, a voice interrupts their conversation. "Stop it right now." A tall figure appears before them, just as Min Hao thinks he's really going to die. The next second, the glasses guy kicks the ambusher. He looks at the fallen person. "I never thought you would be so despicable." And now Min Hao doesn't understand why this man is helping him. Then, the glasses guy indicates he didn't know the seniors brought them here to do this. Hearing this, the black-clothed man didn't expect the glasses guy to switch sides at this moment. Just then, the president interrupts their conversation. "These small fry you three found can't even beat Min Hao. How could they possibly defeat me? Let's do this. Don't embarrass yourselves in front of your juniors." At this point, the black-clothed man also realizes that the three's conspiracy is really terrible. Before he finishes speaking, the bald guy charges forward first. The other two have no choice but to follow. The bald guy throws a punch first, but the president dodges. The president, with his agile movements, avoids all attacks and counters to knock down one person. Just then, the bald guy notices the president's lower body. Then he loudly reminds the yellow-haired man, "Watch out for the president's legs." Because Zhang He's attack style is usually focused on the legs, if they can grab his legs, they'll definitely have a chance to knock him down. With this in mind, the small black guy lunges forward. At this point, the president has already realized their intention. He smiles slightly, then raises his leg and directly kicks them away. Next, the yellow-haired guy rushes over to grab the president. The bald guy seizes the opportunity to attack. Before he finishes speaking, he prepares to attack the immobilized president. Just then, the yellow-haired guy suddenly feels like he's been thrown in the air. The next second, the president demonstrates incredible leg strength. A sidekick knocks down the bald guy. The terrifying force sends him flying several meters. The yellow-haired guy is dumbfounded. He didn't expect the president to be so formidable. While he's stunned, he's also kicked away in the same manner. Then the president walks towards the mastermind of this incident. "Is this your scheme to defy your superiors? The plan is not bad, but you need the ability to execute it, fools. So what exactly were you trying to do? If you led these small fry to defeat me, what was your plan afterward? Also, you should know what it means to attack me, regardless of winning or losing." Then, the bald guy responds, "Winning or losing doesn't matter to me. Even if I die, I can't tolerate officials who treat us like monkeys." Hearing this, the president smiles slightly. "Can you take responsibility for what you just said?" Before he finishes, he grabs the bald guy, directly pushing him towards the edge of the rooftop. "You should know, even if I throw you down now, nothing will happen to me." At this point, the bald guy is still trying to act tough. "Whatever, kill me." But unexpectedly, he says this completely to distract the president. He directly wraps his legs around Zhang. "Hey, even if I die, I'll take someone with me." Seeing his action, the president smiles darkly. "This impromptu plan isn't bad either. But do you have the ability to realize it?" Then the president throws several punches at him. After taking several heavy blows, the bald guy passes out. Seeing this, the president throws him on the ground. "Forget it, you brat. Go back to carrying out the guard mission." But the bald guy can't respond to this good news now. Then, the president calls out to the glasses guy nearby. "Take Min Hao to the hospital quickly." Just as he finishes speaking, he seems to suddenly think of something. Then, he changes his mind. "Don't go to the hospital, take him to the school's infirmary." As he turns to leave, he doesn't forget to emphasize what he just instructed. Let's go, Min Hao, you're bleeding a lot. The scene changes. Gao Qingming is now on his way to find the director. He knocks gently on the door and enters an extremely luxurious office. Then, the director looks at him. Why did you suddenly come to find me? Do you have something important, President and Qingming? I'm here about Min Hao, whom I mentioned to you last time. However, the director responds in shock. He's the one specially invited by Professor Cheng, right? The guard department may have guessed my relationship with him, so they want to send him on a mission. Seeing the director unmoved, Gao Qingming anxiously hits the table. If we don't rescue Min Hao's father, it will be too late for anything. Tell me your plan. I now know exactly where his father is located. We just need to move him to a place Professor Cheng can't control. The university hospital would be a good choice. Hearing this, the director sighs helplessly. Qingming, you should know, even if you do this, Professor Cheng certainly won't willingly give up this hostage. And he definitely won't let Min Hao go easily, although Professor Cheng sits in his office every day. You shouldn't underestimate him. That guy has been with the principal since before Hualong University was founded. He's a cold-blooded killer who would do anything to complete a mission. Even though he's now a professor at the school, the essence in his bones won't change. And is Min Hao valuable enough for you to take such a big risk? Hearing this, Gao Qingming slams the table. Rescuing Min Hao itself is a value. He's a student of the school, and his father is being held hostage. Isn't rescuing them a value? Then why were you the director of this school from the beginning? And why did you create the secretary department? After saying this, he turns to leave, not forgetting to remind the director. You should know how much potential students valued by Professor Cheng have. Quan, he and I can guarantee Min Hao's value. The scene changes. Min Hao opens his eyes to see Zishan by his side. You only come to see me when I'm injured like this, huh? Now I can use the injury as an excuse not to go on the mission. But I have many questions I want to ask you. It's just that I haven't done what you asked me to. I'm sorry, even if you don't help me anymore, I have nothing to say. Hearing this, Zishan's mood drops. I should be the one saying sorry. You've been getting beaten up recently because of me. I told the president about you because he promised to tell me about my brother. In exchange, I had to tell him what I knew about you. That's why I told you not to be more detailed at that time. If anyone should say they won't help anymore, it should be you saying it to me. Hearing this, the air suddenly falls silent for a moment. Then, Min Hao states, after you told the truth, I think I trust you more. Zishan laughed and said, Are you stupid? If it were her, and Min Hao betrayed her, she would definitely kill Min Hao. After everything was cleared up, the two reached an agreement to work together against Professor Cheng. Scene changed to inside a hospital. At this moment, Gao Qingming looked at Quan He, so we should go now. They arrived at the hospital to take Min Hao's father away. There are so many security department people here. It seems the person we're looking for is really here. We'd better avoid a violent confrontation, otherwise the chairman will have a hard time. Seeing Quan He's concern, Gao Qingming reassured him. Don't worry, the chairman has approved our coming. Then he contacted the girl on the other side through his earpiece. Are you ready? Let's begin. I already have their shift change code. There's about 20 minutes left until their next shift change. Gao Qingming hadn't expected such a long gap. That's enough time. Before he finished speaking, the girl poured cold water on him. You'd better be careful. If they discover anything suspicious, Professor Cheng's people can return here in just 5 minutes. During their conversation, 2 security department people were already preparing to leave. Quan He took off his hat and prepared to take action. Meanwhile, Zishan looked at Min Hao. Said the senior from the secretary department found the chairman to save your father? Now you can rest assured they will definitely succeed. But are your mother and the others safe? You know Professor Cheng won't let this go easily. It doesn't matter. My mother left me when I was young anyway. And it was because of this that my father became an alcoholic. So my father is my only family. As long as he's safe, I can escape from Professor Cheng and help the seniors from the secretary department. Scene change. Professor Cheng said viciously, Socho told you to change shifts. Immediately. Everyone get back there. Don't let anyone near that hospital room. Meanwhile, Gao Qingming and his companion were still searching for Min Hao's father's room. Qingming, why did you tell the chairman that I could also vouch for Min Hao? Gao Qingming smiled slightly. I noticed you and him since the beginning of school. Min Hao was actually very kind. If he hadn't been caught here, he wouldn't have to become Hualong's tool like us. I know, so aren't we saving them now? During their conversation, the two arrived at Min Hao's father's hospital room. But to Gao Qingming's surprise, the door was locked. To avoid wasting time, Quan He asked him to step aside. As soon as he finished speaking, he kicked the door open. But to their surprise, the hospital room was empty. Gao Qingming checked with the girl about the room information. It seemed Min Hao's father had been transferred early. They had to seize this opportunity. The two agreed to split up and search. At this moment, the girl reminded them to hurry. Gao Qingming elegantly opened each room to check. Quan He, on the other hand, kicked doors open one after another. When he kicked open the last door, he found someone on the hospital bed. Quan He pulled back the curtain and saw it was someone from the security department. You! Where have you hidden the old man? Seeing that the man didn't want to confess, Quan He punched him. You'd better talk quickly, or it's one punch every 5 seconds. The man was terrified. Son, I really can't tell you. I'll die if I do. Meanwhile, the security department people had all rushed back. Hurry up, you punks! If we mess this up, we're all going to hell. Elsewhere, and Qingming was anxiously looking for Quanhe. When he found Quanhe, the security department person was already beaten unconscious. From his expression, and Qingming realized things must be serious. But there was no time for explanations now. They had to leave quickly. Unfortunately, the security department was faster. There was no other way now. They had to fight their way out. As soon as he said this, Quanhe and Qingming were fighting with the security department. Then the girl told Qingming through the earpiece that since things had come to this, they must bring Min Hao's father out, or there would be no more chances. Scene change. Learning of this, Professor Cheng had completely fallen out with the chairman. Since things have come to this, let's see how it plays out. Scene change. Min Hao had returned to his dormitory. I shouldn't have come back. It's too quiet here. But why did that bald senior dare to attack the president? What's his reason? The first-year students who came to fight probably only did so because they were following orders. Just then, Quanhe's voice came from the door. Min Hao slowly opened the door. Senior, what happened to you? What do you need from me? Let's talk inside. Seeing Min Hao's bleeding wound, Quanhe spoke up. I taught you how to take a beating, not how to take a knife. Min Hao explained that he was ambushed and couldn't dodge. Then Quanhe sighed deeply. We went to the hospital where your father was yesterday. Seeing Quanhe's grim expression, Min Hao realized they must have failed. It's okay if you couldn't rescue my father. I know it wasn't easy. Seeing Min Hao like this, Quanhe didn't know how to tell him the truth. After an inner struggle, he chose to tell the truth. Your father seems to have passed away. After you just came to this school, his condition worsened and he died. Professor Cheng has been hiding the truth to keep you here, but this might also be false information. Hearing this, Min Hao was suddenly overwhelmed with anger. Professor Cheng had promised him that, if he won first place, he would take good care of Min Hao's seriously ill father. Thinking about how all this was caused by Professor Cheng, Min Hao stood up, wanting to find him for answers. At this moment, Quanhe stopped him. What are you planning to do now? You need to be careful in your current state. In your current condition, I can't let you go find Professor Cheng. Just then, Min Hao suddenly grabbed Quanhe's collar. His father's death had completely unleashed his true nature. Get out of my way! Seeing Quanhe unmoved, Min Hao immediately threw a punch. He had lost all reason. In response, Quanhe grabbed his neck. Calm down, kid! Your wound hasn't healed yet. But Min Hao couldn't hear him anymore and smashed his hand against Quanhe's arm, followed by a punch. Quanhe realized words alone couldn't stop him anymore. He threw a heavy punch at him. The terrifying force caused the wall to cave in. Then he grabbed Min Hao and slammed him to the ground. Min Hao regained his senses. Now calm, he shed tears, accepting his father's death. Senior Quanhe, why did you stop me? Professor Cheng did this to my father. Quanhe explained, you can't even beat me now. What use is it to find Professor Cheng? He probably knows you've discovered this by now, but you haven't completely escaped his control yet. It doesn't matter anymore. I don't have any family now anyway. Scene change. Professor Cheng scolded the two for not finding Min Hao's mother yet. Faced with their excuses, he picked up an ashtray and threw it directly at them and stated, bring her to me alive or dead. Continue searching immediately. If you don't find her, don't come back. At this moment, the president spoke up. Even if they find his mother, Min Hao might not remember what she looks like. Besides, isn't he exactly how you want him to be now? Hearing this, Professor Cheng started laughing. That's quite boring of you to say. The people I choose, including you, if I didn't have leverage over your weaknesses, can you guarantee you wouldn't stab me in the back? Then the president smiled sinisterly. You're right, I can't guarantee that. What I need isn't an uncontrolled madman, but an obedient madman. If a mad dog loses its loyalty, then its head must be cut off. So I hope you won't make me personally dispose of Min Hao. Elsewhere, the yellow-haired guy was beating up his juniors. He made them line up neatly and take his punches one by one. Because of last night's incident, he felt humiliated, so he was taking it out on his juniors. You idiots were all taken down by one person. Don't you feel ashamed? And you, Four Eyes. Are you trying to challenge authority with what you said last? Now I'll teach you the price of speaking out of turn. Just then, a hand grabbed Little Black. Senior, isn't it funny for you to say that? Weren't you the one who led us to challenge the president's authority first? As soon as he finished speaking, a group of people surrounded the two. You two should stop this. At least Bald Senior earned the president's recognition. Look at you two. Because of you, we've become everyone's target, so we won't listen to you seniors anymore. Seeing this, Yellow Hair pulled back Little Black, who was about to attack. The situation wasn't good. They'd settle scores with them later. Then, Bowl Cut looked anxiously at everyone. What do we do now? Will President Zhang give us trouble? After all, we were forced into this. Hearing this, Yin Hao reassured everyone. Don't worry, the president won't even consider you lot. At this time, Kuidong looked at Jiang Tifan with disgust. Coward not only ambushed but also used a knife. The two then suggested, hey, let's go check on Min Hao. Hearing this, Jiang Tifan turned to leave. And you go if you want. A bunch of people with no self-respect. You talk about self-respect when you like to ambush people? How ridiculous. Then he asked Min Hao's roommate about Min Hao's injuries. The roommate checked his phone messages and told them Min Hao was fine and back in his dorm. Kuidong leaned in. Did Min Hao say anything about telling Professor Cheng about this? Min Hao isn't like what you said. He's different from those people. Just apologize properly and it will be fine. Scene change. In the teaching building, Min Hao sat alone at his seat. After the group's discussing, Kuidong went to find Min Hao to apologize first. But no matter what he said, there was no response. So Kuidong thought to tap Min Hao's shoulder to get his attention. Unexpectedly, he was met with a punch to the face. Then, Min Hao grabbed a stool and smashed it towards Pineapple Head and the others. This sudden incident left everyone stunned. Min Hao coldly looked at everyone, then turned and left the classroom. Jixian couldn't understand why Min Hao, who was fine yesterday, suddenly seemed like a different person today. Then everyone blamed Min Hao's roommate. Didn't you say apologizing would work? But the roommate said, something serious must have happened this morning when I wasn't in the dorm. Scene change. Quan was discussing yesterday's events with Qingming. Min Hao almost went to find Professor Cheng after learning the truth, but I managed to stop him. And that guy is much stronger than we thought. At this point, Gao Qingming suddenly interrupted him, thinking Quan had lost to Min Hao, because he had never praised anyone like this before. I didn't lose to him, of course. But in his enraged state, seeing his opponent was me, he managed to control his emotions. Min Hao is much stronger now than before. You know, people can't grow this quickly. It seems he's been hiding his true strength, which is now gradually surfacing. So Professor Cheng must have seen Min Hao's complete madness before recruiting him. You're right, so we need to ensure he doesn't get further provoked. Just as he finished speaking, Qingming saw Min Hao, who should have been resting at Quan Hei's place. Where is he going? Just as the two were about to bring him back, a student from the secretary department told Qingming to quickly check as the security department seemed to be planning something big. With no choice, Quan Hei and Qingming had to split up. Scene change. Jiang Tifan was still thinking about yesterday's incident. Just then, Min Hao found him. Oh, has your body recovered? I should have cut deeper yesterday. What do you want to do to me now in your condition? As soon as he finished speaking, Min Hao approached with a dark expression. Feeling the danger, Jiang Tifan asked Min Hao to wait, saying he had something to tell him. Your father lives alone at home, right? I've inquired a lot about you, so you understand, right? If anything happens to me, I'll have my friends take good care of your father. As soon as he finished, Min Hao threw a punch, followed immediately by a second punch. Then, agonizing screams came from the utility area. Quan Hei rushed over upon hearing the noise. But he was a step too late. He only saw Jiang Tifan lying on the ground, barely alive. Scene change. Min Hao arrived at Little Black's dormitory. Where's that bald-headed guy? Before this, Jixian had seen Min Hao's text message. He wanted to find the 3 second-year students who had caused trouble. Jixian sensed trouble and set out with her roommate to find Min Hao. Meanwhile, Min Hao had arrived at the place mentioned in the text, where the 3 lived. Just as Little Black was about to attack him, Min Hao struck first. Seeing this, Little Black swung a punch back, but Min Hao dodged it. Then Min Hao punched Little Black in the face, but Little Black scoffed, "Sure, punch is nothing special." Before he finished speaking, Min Hao showed him the price of speaking carelessly. The final blow embedded Little Black into the cabinet. Little Black deeply regretted his words. Then, Min Hao grabbed Little Black's collar. "Tell me quickly where that bald guy went." At this moment, Yellow Hair tremblingly asked Min Hao, "Why are you doing this? What happened?" The only response he got was Min Hao's cold stare. Meanwhile, Quan Hei looked at Jiang Tifan. "You threatened Min Hao with his father, didn't you?" Just as he finished speaking, a loud noise came from above. Quan Hei was startled by this sudden event. Min Hao was standing on the windowsill, holding Yellow Hair. Through Yellow Hair, he learned that the bald guy was now with the president. After learning this, Min Hao threw him to the ground. Then he turned to leave. At this moment, Quan Hei caught up and called out to him. "It's dangerous now. Didn't I tell you not to act recklessly?" Min Hao said he couldn't remain indifferent. Whenever he had a moment's peace, all he could think about was his father. "But don't worry, senior. I'm not stupid enough to go confront Professor Cheng. He was just venting his emotions, finding people who deserve to be beaten." Hearing this, Quan Hei shouted angrily, "This way, you'll only bear more and more. Fine, you brat. Come with me. Vent in front of me. I won't stop you." At this moment, Jixian, hiding in the corner, also heard their conversation. She deeply understood what a father meant to Min Hao. Elsewhere, third-year students from the security department were bullying those from the secretary department. The two didn't understand why they were doing this. Red Hair coldly responded, "If you want to know why, ask your president." Just then, Qingming arrived just in time. Red Hair stood directly in front of him. "And you know what you and Quan Hei did, don't you? You've always used the chairman as your backing and gotten too arrogant. But now, that's coming to an end. Professor Cheng is very angry. The security and secretary departments are now at war. And you should know, your secretary department doesn't have many strong members. What will you do? You and Quan Hei can only run around." And Qingming was at a loss. Had things really developed to this point? As he pondered, Quan Hei's voice interrupted him. "Brother Qingming, I brought Min Hao." And Qingming pulled Quan Hei aside. What are you doing? Didn't we say to keep him away from such scenes? Quan Hei told him that Min Hao could no longer control his emotions. Whether to release emotions or whatever, it would be better to let him cause trouble under their watch. Min Hao, see those three over there? They were the ones guarding your father. Go ahead, I won't stop you. As soon as he finished, Min Hao walked over with a dark expression. And Qingming was still worried about him. Min Hao couldn't even beat second-year students before. How will he fight those three? But Quan Hei told him to wait and see. If something goes wrong, we can step in. The three looked at Min Hao. Isn't this the freshman? What do you want, kid? As soon as they finished, Min Hao threw a punch. Then he punched another person. After hitting Yellow Hair, he noticed the two behind him. What are you doing, brat? The three began to gang up on Min Hao. Seeing this, and Qingming couldn't wait anymore. Quan Hei calmed him, asking him to wait a bit longer. The next moment, they witnessed an incredible sight. Min Hao quickly gained the upper hand, punching the three one by one, sending them flying. With the final punch, all three were knocked down. Min Hao, due to his previous wound reopening, and today's severe physical exhaustion, fainted. Elsewhere, the president told Baldi. Min Hao had single-handedly defeated Lu Jiang, who was about to become the fourth-year head. Hearing this news, Baldi was incredulous. When he had fought Min Hao before, he hadn't seemed this strong. Suddenly, someone walked in and told Baldi both his roommates had been beaten up by Min Hao. Upon hearing this, Baldi angrily asked the man to take him to find Min Hao. Then, the two left. The president smiled sinisterly. Seems Min Hao's true face is showing. Now we just need to find his weakness. Scene change. Min Hao opened his eyes to see Quan Hei by his side. Rest easy. This is Hulong University's hospital, the only neutral zone. It's a sanctuary not under school jurisdiction. Anyway, just rest here. Your wound reopened quite a bit. Once you're healed, I'll fight alongside you. The secretary and security departments are at war now anyway. Only when one side's leadership collapses can the fighting end. At this moment, the principal was shouting at the chairman, "Men, two departments are family. Do they really need to fight?" The chairman responded, Professor Cheng's kidnapping and causing a student's father's death cannot be overlooked. Last time, he killed a student who was about to enter fourth year. Do you know his parents are shareholders in our school? How much my brother suffered for that case, don't you know? Professor Cheng is gradually slipping out of control. Hearing this, the principal not only ignored the advice, but now wanted to bet with the chairman on whether his security department or the secretary department was stronger. The chairman's face immediately darkened. She hadn't expected the principal to bet on such a matter. Scene change. Tai Wu was escorting Professor Ma. Suddenly, many people emerged from a car and attacked the two without a word. Tai Wu kicked a baseball bat to pieces and kicked the attacker in the face. Then he fought with the group. In an instant, all the attackers were knocked down. Then, Tai Wu bent down and saw the emblem on these people's arms. It seemed they were after Professor Ma. Just then, his phone rang. It was a message from the chairman, summoning him back to school urgently. Hearing this, Professor Ma panicked. Aren't you done with school affairs since you're in fourth year? What will happen to me if you leave? Tai Wu said he had no choice, the chairman's orders must be obeyed. But before leaving, he would take the professor to a safe place. Meanwhile, the security department members on a mission also received a text. They were about to go to war with the secretary department and were ordered to return immediately. That's great. Quan Hei, get ready for me. Scene change. Professor Cheng was still pondering the issue of Min Hao's father's death. The two had transferred Min Hao's father without heeding the doctor's warnings. The patient's condition is critical. This is dangerous. But they completely ignored the doctor's advice, which led to Min Hao's father's death. Upon learning this, Professor Cheng was furious. Why didn't you report to me that Min Hao's father was critically ill? Who told you to act on your own? Today you'll pay for your ignorance. Scene change. Min Hao's roommate brought daily necessities to see him. That day, Xixian and I heard about your father's death. I'm sorry, you need to stay strong. Then the roommate turned to leave. If you need anything else, just let me know. After the roommate left, Min Hao slowly spoke. Silly girl, still standing outside? As soon as he finished, Xixian walked in with fried chicken. Then, Min Hao slowly spoke. You must know about my father now. We have no reason to continue working together. You'll be in danger if you stay with me. Professor Cheng will look for things that can become my weakness. Just then, Xixian interrupted him. You mean Professor Cheng will use me to threaten you? Hearing Xixian's words, Min Hao blushed. Then he found other excuses. Well, others might be in danger too. Anyone associated with me is at risk. Hearing this, Xixian angrily threw the fried chicken at Min Hao and turned to leave. By the way, the secretary and security departments have already fallen out. Whatever you think, I will definitely join the secretary department. Min Hao was left a bit helpless by Xixian. Just then, Quan Hei suddenly appeared behind him. You have quite a few visitors, kid. As your senior, I have some advice for you. Never date in school. It turns out Su Jing and Quan Hei also had an enviable love story. But now, for some unknown reason, after breaking up, she would physically attack Quan Hei. Min Hao couldn't imagine that the crazy woman was actually senior Quan Hei's ex-girlfriend. Then, Qingming told him that a lot had happened between them when they were competing for the first-year top position. Hearing this, Quan He said he was partly responsible for how she had become, and Qing Ming patted his shoulder. "Hun, you did your best at the time." Scene change. Su Jing had also returned to school. On the way, they met Baldy, who was looking for Min Hao. Learning they had the same destination, they decided to go together. The man stopped Su Jing, "And the hospital is a neutral zone. How will we get in?" Su Jing said, "We're just visiting. We'll figure it out when we get there." Their movements were all being observed by the blonde girl from the secretary department. She took out her phone and sent this information to Qingming. Meanwhile, Min Hao was eating fried chicken, looking at the two. "A battle is about to happen, and we're sitting here eating fried chicken. Is this really okay?" And Qingming told him, "And the other side has 4 times our numbers. Although I'm very confident we'll win this battle, we should still be prepared." Just then, he received intelligence from the blonde girl. The security department was already heading their way. Then Quan He stood up, saying he would go check first. When he reached the door, and Qingming told him Su Jing was also coming. Hearing this news, he sheepishly sat back down. Min Hao looked at Quan He. "I've never seen senior like this before." Meanwhile, Su Jing had already brought people to the hospital entrance. The place was already surrounded by the secretary department, heavily guarded. Su Jing approached directly. "Does the secretary department own this hospital? Who gave you the right to do this?" And Qingming arrived just in time and stated this was all the chairman's intention. "Our secretary department is responsible for hospital security." Then Su Jing smiled slightly. Brother Qingming is still the same, only good at running his mouth. She said she simply wanted to see Min Hao, but Qingming refused. "And no one can guarantee what you might do with that unsatisfied look of yours." Hearing this, Su Jing's face immediately darkened. "And I'm very unsatisfied right now. So are you going to stop me?" Just as she was about to attack the secretary department people, Quan He appeared in time. "Su Jing, let's talk." Meanwhile, the president called Yin Hao to his side and told him he couldn't do anything about the special students. Once Professor Cheng decided, nothing could change. But now you have an opportunity. Just eliminate Min Hao and you'll naturally become the top of the year. Hearing this, Yin Hao said he could earn it with his own strength. Then the president poured cold water on him. "Have you forgotten being beaten on the rooftop? At that time, Min Hao hadn't even used his full strength and defeated you. So trust me, this is your only chance." Meanwhile, the former couple had already begun fighting. The two were attacking each other. As they fought intensely, and Qingming pulled Quan He back. "Do you really want to fight Su Jing? This girl is too dangerous. Go back to the hospital." But Quan He slowly took off his jacket. And no choice now. Only he can stop Su Jing. Su Jing also warned Baldy and the others not to interfere. Then Baldy looked confusedly at the man beside him. "Did Quan He cheat? Why has she become like this?" The man slowly spoke. And at that time, Quan He put in a lot of effort to bring Su Jing into the secretary department. But Su Jing chose to follow Professor Cheng's arrangements and stayed in the security department. Since then, the two have been broken up. She's always said she wants to kill Quan He. Su Jing looked at Quan He. "What? Are you happy you left me alone in the security department?" Hearing this, Quan He immediately retorted. "It was you who listened to Professor Cheng and stayed there. It was you who abandoned me, am I right?" Before he finished, Su Jing rushed over and grabbed Quan He, pinning him to the ground. "The only reason you could go to the secretary department alive was because I stayed in the security department." Quan He suddenly realized. Then Su Jing looked at him. "Want to know why I'm telling you only now? If I had told you then, what if you had done something stupid and died because of me? But honestly, I originally thought you would stay in the security department for me. If I had known, I should have killed you, you traitor, first." Hearing this, Quan He grabbed Su Jing's arm. Then he flipped over. "Leave the security department. Professor Cheng can't do anything to me now." Hearing this, Su Jing smiled slightly. "You don't even know the current situation. If Professor Cheng wants to eliminate someone now, he will order it without hesitation, no matter who that person is." At this moment, Yin Hao took advantage of the chaos outside to sneak into the hospital. When the secretary department patrol found him, they thought he was visiting Min Hao and let him go. Then he took out his phone and told the president he had infiltrated. Meanwhile, the president received the message and smiled slightly. Just then, a voice interrupted him. "I told you last time, I have nothing more to say to you." The president got straight to the point. "Well, nothing else. Just want you to help me prevent Min Hao from going to the secretary department." Hearing this, Zhi Xian spoke. "If I say no, you'll capture me to threaten Min Hao, right?" "You're right. If we did that, he would definitely come to the security department. But what I want is for Min Hao to die. Also, to deal with Professor Cheng, I'll say I tried my best. If Min Hao isn't eliminated now, he will definitely go to the secretary department. To achieve what I've just said, I need you to explain to Professor Cheng that even if I capture you, it won't work." Hearing this, Zhi Xian coldly looked at him. "Why should I help you? If you dare touch Min Hao, I'll tell Professor Cheng everything you just said." The president interrupted her. "And you will help me. Last time, didn't I reveal to you about your brother? The culprit is actually Min Hao." Scene change. Yin Hao had also arrived at Min Hao's hospital room. Min Hao looked back. "What are you doing here? You want to attack me while I'm seriously injured, right?" Yin Hao said he had no choice. "If I don't take advantage of your injury, I might never beat you." As soon as he finished, Yin Hao kicked at Min Hao. Min Hao counterattacked. Then he threw a punch directly at Yin Hao's face. The terrifying force sent Yin Hao flying. But because of his large movements just now, Min Hao's wound reopened. As much as I hate to admit it, even with you injured, I can't beat you with fists and feet. Saying this, he pulled out a knife from his pocket. I must eliminate you. Only then can I become Professor Cheng's student. As soon as he finished, he swung the knife. Min Hao looked at him fiercely. I thought you, Yin Hao, would be a straightforward person. Then Yin Hao said he had no choice. This was all the president's idea. After saying this, he charged at Min Hao with his knife again. Min Hao blocked his attack with his arm. But Yin Hao had achieved his goal. He cut Min Hao at his already injured spot. This despicable guy has been targeting my wound from the start. As soon as he finished, Yin Hao came in front of Min Hao with his knife again. He thought he must take Min Hao's life while his wound wasn't healed, because if he missed this chance, he probably wouldn't get another opportunity. At this moment, a doctor suddenly burst in. Before coming, he had retrieved Min Hao's information. Seeing his address, the doctor suddenly stood up, seeming to realize something. So he rushed anxiously to the hospital room. To his surprise, Yin Hao was in the act of attacking. The doctor tried to stop him, but was punched away by Yin Hao. After succeeding, he hurriedly fled the scene. Hearing the noise, the nurse rushed over. Min Hao was now dying, his old wounds unhealed and new ones added. The doctor immediately decided to take Min Hao to the basement for emergency treatment. The nurse was clearly hesitant, knowing that such a place wasn't appropriate for someone of his status. But with the doctor's assurance, he could only prioritize saving the patient. The scene shifts, and the security students led by the chairman had completely surrounded the hospital. And Qingming, you don't really think hiding in a hospital makes you safe, do you? The company has suspended all other operations to end this war quickly. The security department outnumbers you several times over. Do you think you still have a chance? And Qingming calmly responded, why don't you test the secretary department's specialty? Fighting to the death in defense. Hearing this, Zaijun roared and ordered his subordinates to attack. As soon as he finished speaking, they charged toward the hospital entrance. Soon the secretary and security students were fighting each other. Meanwhile, the chairman watched the scenes unfolding below from upstairs. Behind her, Tae-woo expressed his desire to stretch his legs and join the fight, but the chairman refused. Since Tae-woo was a fourth-year student, if he joined, the security department might send their senior students too, which would disadvantage the secretary department. Tae-woo was confused. Then why did you call me back? The chairman slowly turned to look at him. I need you to secretly find evidence that Professor Cheng is using to threaten Zhang. The scene changes. The doctor pushed Min Hao into the hospital's most obscure basement. Professor Lian was confused about why he was brought to such a place. The doctor got straight to the point. This kid will die soon without immediate surgery, and only Professor Lian could save him. Professor Lian looked disgusted. Although I'm the most skilled doctor in this hospital, I specialize in dealing with the dead. I don't want to handle this person. Get out. Also, you little nurse, how dare you come here? Do you want to stay here forever? The doctor interrupted her. This boy is Min Hao from Anshan City. Hearing this, the professor trembled as she looked at the boy lying on the bed. You came here when he was very young, Professor. This child. Is he my son Min Hao? Meanwhile, Qingming and Quanhe were vigorously defending against the security department's attack. A thug tried to sneak up on Qingming during a gap in the fighting, but unexpectedly, he was kicked away by Qingming. Elsewhere, Quanhe and Zaijun were engaged in intense combat. Zaijun had a sinister smile. Quanhe, I've always liked you, kid. As he spoke, he quickly threw several punches. While fighting, he taunted Quanhe to withstand his attacks. Before he could finish speaking, he was punched and sent flying. The person who hit him was Qingming, who had come to help. Then, he turned back to look at Quanhe. Don't hold back just because he's your senior. After an intense fight, the secretary department won despite being outnumbered. The once numerous security department now had only the chairman and Sujing left. Then the chairman slowly spoke. I never expected that our people would be the first to lose. After speaking, he looked at Sujing beside him. Why didn't you fight, girl? Sujing glared at Quanhe. I'm not in the mood to continue fighting today. The chairman looked resigned. Fine, you've never listened to me anyway. And Qingming was confused. Why had the chairman been standing still without fighting? The chairman smiled slightly. Because I'm going to see the chairman. It would be impolite to meet her with dirty clothes. Don't worry, Professor Cheng really wants to swallow your secretary department this time. Then, the secretary department members who had been knocked down slowly sat up. The usually arrogant security department is getting what they deserve today. Just then, his classmate beside him seemed to notice something. A dark mass of shadows was walking toward them, and Qingming sensed trouble. For this war, had the security department sent their fourth-year graduates? Then, he looked at the chairman in horror. Shouldn't the seniors be at the headquarters of Hualong Group? Why are they here? Hearing this, Zhang laughed coldly. You can call your seniors too. Besides, I know what you're worried about. Since we dare to attack the university hospital, it proves we're confident in reclaiming Hualong University. At that time, why would we fear the headquarters? After we drive the chairman out of school. And Qingming, as her son, I can only accommodate you this far. On the other side, the chairman also noticed the fourth-year security students. Then, she turned to the doctor behind her. "If you have something to say it quickly." The doctor began to speak, describing how Min Hao was injured and sent to the basement for treatment. Just as he was about to reveal Min Hao's identity, the chairman signaled him to be quiet, then opened the door to look downstairs. The security students had already broken in. Then the chairman closed the door, and upon hearing that Min Hao should have been rescued, she showed an extremely disappointed expression. The chairman looked at the doctor with a gloomy face. "Since rescue is troublesome, just let Min Hao die." Hearing this, the doctor was shocked. "What do you mean?" The chairman responded, "If I lose now, Professor Cheng and his people will control the entire school and even the group. Conversely, if I win, the security and secretary departments will be mine. This is my agreement with the principal. The fuse of this war is Min Hao, so if I win, I can rescue him from Professor Cheng. But now Professor Cheng wants to kill him, violating the principal's wishes, showing he's out of control. So if Min Hao dies because of Professor Cheng's side, it will void my agreement with the principal. Given the current situation, I can only sacrifice Min Hao." Then the doctor stated that his mission was to save people. He couldn't watch Min Hao die before his eyes. Hearing this, the chairman shouted angrily, "It's already difficult to save him, and the basement doesn't even belong to this hospital. If I lose, do you think you'll fare any better?" Just then, a voice interrupted their conversation. Min Hao's surgery was very successful. Seeing it was Professor Lian, the chairman looked panicked. "Professor Lian, why are you here?" As soon as she finished speaking, Min Hao's mother, Professor Lian, slapped the chairman across the face. The chairman was stunned by the sudden slap. "What are you doing?" Before she could finish, Professor Lian grabbed her collar. "Chairman, you dare think about abandoning Min Hao? Don't you know he's my son? Also, was it you who brought him to this school?" The chairman's expression froze. "You have a son?" Then she quickly shook her head in denial. It wasn't her who brought Min Hao here, it was all the principal's doing. After learning the situation, Professor Lian immediately demanded she call the principal. The chairman didn't dare hesitate and immediately took out her phone. But she couldn't understand why Min Hao was suddenly Professor Lian's son. Not daring to think further, she quickly handed over the phone with both hands. Just as Professor Lian picked up the phone, someone was suddenly thrown through the door. It was someone from the security department. "The chairman's office is now occupied by our security department." Professor Lian signaled him to be quiet. The scene shifts, the principal received the call. "How's it going, Chairman? Have my children arrived at your place yet?" Before he could be happy, Professor Lian's voice came from the other end. Upon hearing her voice, the principal immediately became anxious. "Why is it you, Professor Lian?" "Of course it's me. Now I need to have an important conversation with you. You should ask your people to leave." Then she put the phone on speaker. The principal's voice came through. "We adults are talking, you impolite bunch, get out now." The security students had no choice but to obey. The principal was very troubled. He hadn't expected Professor Lian to suddenly appear. He spoke slowly. "This is a war between me and the chairman. It has no impact on you. Regardless of the outcome, the lower level of the hospital will still belong to you." Then, Professor Lian's voice came from the phone. She demanded the principal tell her everything about Min Hao. So she learned from the principal that Min Hao was recruited by Professor Cheng. But when she heard that Min Hao's father had died because of this, her entire demeanor turned cold. Meanwhile, the principal was still smiling. It was because of this child's father's situation that the chairman kept holding on to me. However, this also gave me the opportunity to swallow Holong University whole. Then Professor Lian looked at the chairman. "So Min Hao's attack was all done by Professor Cheng, right?" The principal scratched his head in frustration. How could Professor Cheng make decisions on his own? But why are you so curious about Min Hao's situation? On the other end of the phone, the chairman grabbed Professor Lian's arm. "You've heard it all, right? I've been helping Min Hao all along." But her only response was a cold stare. "You Yins dare to do such things. If the old man knew about this, what do you think he would do?" Hearing the words old man, both of them froze. "Let me be brief. Min Hao is my son. He just escaped death. You understand what I mean, right? Arrest Professor Cheng for me." The principal's subordinate was still trying to persuade him. "If we don't seize this opportunity, who knows when the next chance will come?" Hearing this, the principal roared. "You know nothing. If the old man gets involved, I will have nothing left. Arrest Professor Cheng immediately. This is all his own doing." Just then, the three seemed to notice something. Professor Cheng was blocking their path. He waved at the principal's car. The next second, a speeding truck crashed into them. The principal and his car were all knocked off the road and down the hillside. It seems this was all Professor Cheng's conspiracy. He personally eliminated his own boss. Thanks to timely rescue, the doctor pulled Min Hao back from the brink of death. Today was his first day out of the hospital. Min Hao looked around and found the school unusually quiet. What Min Hao didn't know was that, in places he couldn't see, his roommate was being beaten. The three glasses-wearing boys were cornered in an alley by senior students. "You guys, don't you know to greet your seniors?" Seeing that the glasses-wearing boys refused, the blonde-haired immediately threw a punch, but it was dodged by a ducking glasses boy. Just as he seized the opportunity to counterattack, he was sucker-punched by the blue-haired guy. Seeing Glasses Boy outmatched, his two companions immediately rushed forward. But the power difference was too great, and they were beaten back. Next, the blonde-haired guy straddled Min Hao's roommate. Just then, a large hand pressed on his shoulder, followed by a kick that sent the blonde flying several meters. The one who came to help was Min Hao, just released from the hospital. The three beaten boys seemed to see hope. Then Min Hao slowly approached the blue-haired guy. The blonde-haired guy who had been kicked away was furious and eager to teach Min Hao a lesson. But the blue-haired guy stopped him in time, telling him that Min Hao had once floored their seniors even when injured. Hearing this, the blonde wisely chose to flee. As he was about to leave, Min Hao directly grabbed his shoulder. "Don't be in a rush to leave, why not continue fighting?" Under pressure, the blonde immediately chose to bow and apologize, begging Min Hao to let him off this once. As they left, the blue-haired guy patted his shoulder, praising his apology as excellent, otherwise they both would have been beaten. Afterward, Min Hao's roommate asked, "Is your body okay? We were just about to visit you in the hospital." Learning that Min Hao's condition wasn't serious, everyone returned to the classroom. They discussed the current situation at school. From his roommate, he learned that Professor Cheng had killed the principal and taken control of the university. Although the headquarters had sent graduated seniors to try to drive Professor Cheng out, Professor Cheng's subordinates were all in their prime, and many graduated seniors had chosen to stand with him. Now Hualong University was like a battlefield filled with gunpowder smoke. The secretary and security departments had become mortal enemies, with the secretary department now allied with the headquarters. Min Hao looked at the three. "Why did you choose the secretary department?" "Of course because of you. Aren't we friends? You joined the secretary department, so naturally we came too." Hearing this, Min Hao asked about Jixian's situation. After some internal struggle, his roommate told Min Hao that Jixian had joined the security department. Min Hao felt uneasy. Could Jixian have been forced into the security department because of him? Thinking this, he wanted to go to the security department to ask Jixian directly. His roommate stopped him. Going there alone now would be suicide. But Min Hao was determined. Just as he was about to leave, Quan Hai walked in. "So you're here, Min Hao." "Hello, senior." All right, don't be like that. Why didn't you stay in the hospital a few more days? If you're feeling well, come with me to see the chairman, she wants to meet you." Meanwhile, due to the school's turmoil, many people were guarding the chairman's office. Quan Hai brought Min Hao over. The chairman examined Min Hao. "So this is Professor Lian's son?" This woman, after having a happy and complete family, chose to continue pursuing higher education. With her constant efforts, she was finally admitted to a prestigious medical school. Originally having both love and career success, she chose to abandon her husband and adorable son. But unexpectedly, 10 years after leaving home, she saved her own child's life. The chairman was confused. Why didn't Professor Lian recognize Min Hao as her son? Professor Lian slowly spoke. "Min Hao nearly lost his life coming to this school, and his father's death were both because of me. Min Hao probably thinks so too, leaving suddenly 10 years ago, and now wanting to reconnect as his mother. It's hard to imagine how that child would look at me. This is the thing I fear most in this world. But you also saved his life, didn't you?" Hearing this, Professor Lian glared fiercely at the chairman. "No matter what, you cannot tell Min Hao that I am his mother." Remembering Professor Lian's previous warning, the chairman sighed. Then she asked about Min Hao's injuries. "You should know that Professor Cheng wants to kill you, right? And about your father's situation. So you plan to join the secretary department from the beginning? Now that he has eliminated the principal and monopolized Hualong University? What do you plan to do, Min Hao?" Hearing this, Min Hao fell into reminiscence, recalling what Professor Cheng had done to him before. Min Hao slowly spoke. "Professor Cheng has high expectations for me. I certainly can't disappoint him. Whether it's Zhang or Sujing, I will defeat them all. Finally, I will drive Professor Cheng out of office." Hearing Min Hao's answer, the chairman smiled slightly. "All right, that's all. Quan Hai, you two can go now." Just as the two were about to turn and leave, Min Hao turned back to ask the chairman, "If Professor Cheng is driven out, will this evil university collapse with him?" The chairman looked helpless. "Probably not." Hearing this answer, Min Hao said nothing and left. The scene shifts to Professor Cheng's office. Professor Cheng instructed his bodyguard, "Everyone leave. Having one backer here is enough for him." Then, the bodyguard tried to flatter him. He claimed to have just received intelligence that the company was also in turmoil, and staying by Professor Cheng's side, no, now it should be Principal Cheng's side, would be safer. Hearing this, the professor smiled slightly. "Are you Guangjun? You've been a spy at headquarters. After staying there for several years, why are you now unhesitatingly returning to me?" "Of course it's because you are my benefactor. Everyone here definitely shares my thinking." "Is that so? I don't recall granting you any favors." "Well, if that's the case, let me see your phone." Guangjun looked very nervous. "There are some private conversations here. You might not like what you see." But Professor Cheng was very firm. Having no choice, he could only hand it over obediently. Then, he gave an eye signal to the glasses-wearing man at the door, just as Guangjun had said. The phone was full of criticism against Professor Cheng. Just then, a group of people suddenly rushed in from outside. They took attacking stances against Professor Cheng. Guangjun laughed coldly. Just as the professor said, having stayed so long, I've become attached to the company. Today marks the anniversary of sending you to the afterlife. The burly man behind Professor Chung immediately stepped in front. He grabbed Guangjun's collar and threw him out of the building. Seeing this, those who came to assassinate were all terrified. Since you are no longer my students, send them all to the afterlife. Meanwhile, the chairman arrived at Professor Cheng's office door, just in time to witness the assassins being thrown out. The chairman peered in and found the blue-haired man trying to escape. But as soon as he left, he ran into the arriving chairman. The chairman immediately kicked him. The man who thought he would escape was kicked back inside. The office was now a scene of brutal fighting. What were these guys here to do? Professor Cheng smiled slightly, just a small trick played by the company. So, no matter what loyal words I've told you, saying these things is useless. It's still important to have crucial leverage in hand. Then, he instructed the chairman to carefully observe the new first-year security department members, as there should be secretary department spies mixed in. The scene shifts. Jixian seemed to be searching for something. When she opened a small booklet, she saw the record of her brother's expulsion. Forget it, this kind of place wouldn't have any confidential intelligence. Then she noticed a safe nearby. If she wanted to know the password, she might need to investigate further. Then she turned to leave. Suddenly, the chairman appeared in front of her. Why are you here, girl? Jixian said that the teaching assistant asked her to get materials. The chairman didn't believe her, so he took the materials. After checking, he found nothing special. These materials were only about some expelled students. Then he returned the materials to Jixian and let her leave. Just as Jixian was about to walk away, the chairman suddenly called her back. She wondered what else he wanted. Zhanga spoke slowly. You came to this school to seek revenge against Professor Cheng, right? The secretary department should be where you want to go for revenge. So why did you stay in the security department? Hearing this, Jixian responded, Didn't you say you wouldn't care what I do? The chairman smiled slightly. That's when you were useful to me. You staying in the secretary department would be useful to me. I told you the truth about your brother, but you haven't done anything for me. Since things have come to this point, go find Min Hao again. You want to avenge Min Hao, right? I'll tell you the news from this side, so go with peace of mind. Oh, if you continue blindly like this, Professor Cheng will eventually discover you. By then, you might become a cold corpse. The scene shifts. Quanhe looks at Min Hao. This Xian you mentioned is the girl who visited you last time, right? Senior, you're right. That child also has a grudge against Professor Cheng. We had agreed to go to the secretary department together. But after I was discharged, I couldn't contact her at all. She might have stayed in the security department because of me. Hearing this, Quanhe also fell into reminiscence. He felt the situation was very similar to what happened between him and Sujing back then. Thinking about these things gave him a headache. I warned you not to date back then. Min Hao quickly explained that they weren't dating. Forget it. I'll help you find out about Jixian. Now let's do something interesting. Later, in a small alley gathered several security department people. The bald guy looked contemptuous. Are you two looking to die? Quanhe looked at Min Hao. Since the fighting broke out, security department people have been gathering here like rats causing trouble. I originally wanted to handle it myself, but now that you're out of the hospital, do some rehabilitation exercise. As soon as he finished speaking, the bald guy came over. What? Are you secretary department people coming here to die? Min Hao first checked his wound, then did some simple warm-up exercises. After everything was ready, he punched the bald guy and sent him flying several meters. Seeing this, the other two angrily attacked Min Hao. Only Kui Dong wanted to sneak away. Min Hao covered his wound. It still affects me a bit, but I'll be gentler. As he spoke, he jumped up with a flying kick. In an instant, the two who were so domineering a moment ago were all knocked to the ground. Then, two more minions came rushing over, alerted by the noise. Min Hao's eyes were incredibly hard. He rushed forward with 2 punches. Quanhe was very calm, leisurely watching Min Hao's solo performance. But these little ones couldn't withstand the punishment, and all passed out after a few hits. Then Quanhe crouched down and warned the man. Today was just a little education. Don't bully outside school students in the future. If the chairman finds out, you'll be in trouble. The man looked at Quanhe pitifully. I understand. You didn't need to use force at all. Hearing this, Quanhe looked helpless. Sorry, it's hard to imagine you would listen. Just when they thought it was over, the man who had sneaked away earlier called over a group of people. The result was predictable. This group would sleep on the ground tonight. Walking on the road, Min Hao complained. Senior, you really didn't help me at all, Quanhe responded. If you can't handle this, then you should go back to the hospital to recuperate for a while longer. Just then, Jixian suddenly appeared, interrupting their conversation. The two were silent for a long time. Jixian spoke first. How is your body? However, Min Hao skipped her question. He asked Jixian why she went to the security department. To dig up intelligence. This turmoil at Hualong University is a good opportunity. I had to avoid the secretary department, afraid of being discovered, so I didn't dare contact you. Min Hao interrupted her. Are you angry with me? I think you look similar to when you were angry last time. Last time, you were sorry for telling the chairman about me. Saying this, Min Hao suddenly realized something. You're not still doing this now, are you? Judging by your expression, you are. But if you continue to stay in the security department, you'll be exposed sooner or later. Just then, Jixian suddenly shouted, I'm really angry with you this time. Min Hao didn't understand why. Then Jixian spoke. To be safe, I need to confirm if you know a person named Shu Liu Zhang. That's my brother's name. He was Professor Cheng's student. A long time ago, he followed Professor Cheng's orders. To test a student, I heard it was supposed to be a simple test. But unexpectedly, that person beat him up until his entire body was fractured. And his left eye also went blind. In the end, he became disabled and was abandoned by Professor Cheng. Thinking about it, Professor Cheng is the kind of person who would do such things. Do you know what this story means? Hearing this, Min Hao seemed to realize something. He remembered the chairman telling him that the person who beat his father was called Liu Zhang. Then, Jixian spoke. I'm now very willing to tell the chairman about you. In my view, that fighting loving you is your true self, right? Professor Cheng recruited you for your fighting ability, so you and he are the same kind of person. If there's nothing else, I'm going back to the security department. I can't pretend nothing happened around you. Also, we won't cooperate anymore. You and Professor Cheng are both my enemies. Then Min Hao called out to Jixian. Zhang He actually told you it was just a simple test? Your brother wanted to challenge me, but I refused. Then he hit my father to force me to accept the challenge. Although Professor Cheng caused my father's death, in my eyes, your brother is the same kind of person as him. I will never forgive him. So, you definitely won't forgive me either, right? After speaking, Min Hao turned and left. Returning to the dormitory, Min Hao took a shower to calm down. But his angry heart still led him to punch and shatter the glass in the bathroom. He was very unwilling. How had things turned out this way? Just now, Lin, teaching assistant, handed the materials to Professor Shen. Then she put the material bottle on the table for everyone to check. These are the students expelled by Professor Cheng. Everyone present should know that expulsion here means making people disappear forever. Then Professor May picked up the materials and examined them. The bald man looked at Professor Shen. Are you planning to report Professor Cheng with this? It's just a legitimate excuse. After speaking, she took out a document. These are the accounts of Professor Cheng misappropriating company funds to pay security department students. Professor May took a look and was immediately shocked. No one had expected Professor Cheng to have misappropriated so much money. In any case, continuing like this, the company will eventually lose to Professor Cheng. Hualong University students have been responsible for the most dangerous work from the beginning, while the company's student strength is not much different from security guards. After all, Professor Cheng's biggest trump card is still the security department students. We just need to poach the special invitees we brought in. However, their salaries are very high, and we still need some capital to poach them now. Just then, the coach suddenly spoke. Hualong University is already in this state. We're all afraid of being targeted by Professor Cheng, and students are the same. The day he became the principal, we, the thorns in his side, could be removed at any time. So next time, gather us when there's a clear plan. Who knows which one of us might be Professor Cheng's spy. Just then, Professor May stopped the coach who was about to leave, and started chatting cheerfully about the allocation of principal and various positions after driving Professor Cheng out. Then, the bald professor interrupted him. You look the most like that spy. Weren't you the most loyal to Professor Cheng? Hearing the two arguing, the professor looked at the assistant beside him, telling her to be more careful in the future. Getting these materials out must have been very dangerous. But what he didn't know was that all this was actually done by Jixian. The scene shifts. Jixian arrived at a warehouse on the back mountain of the school. She felt that the tasks Lin assistant asked her to do were getting more and more dangerous. But thinking she might find information useful to herself, she could only forge ahead. But thinking of Min Hao, her mood suddenly became depressed. Now she was alone again. Forget about all that. Jixian immediately opened the warehouse door. But to her surprise, there were security department guards. Both sides were shocked at each other's appearance. Jixian immediately said that the assistant sent her to deliver something. But the burly man didn't want to listen to her nonsense and grabbed her. The blonde guy smiled slightly. I must report in the action report that it was because I ate an extra bowl of noodles that I caught the spy. Hearing this, Jixian quickly explained. She was also a security department student, not any kind of spy. Then the burly man shouted, First tell us what the assistant sent you to get. Just then, Jixian remembered the assistant's words. There might be very important intelligence in this place. They seem to be hiding something. Take this key. Once inside, whatever you see, take as much as you can. Jixian didn't know what to do. If she revealed this, she definitely wouldn't get out. And with so many guards, there must be something very important here. Just as the blue-haired man was threatening Jixian to confess everything, the burly man who had grabbed her was suddenly attacked. The burly man fell forward. Jixian instinctively thought it was Min Hao coming to rescue her, but what she saw was a man in a suit. Meanwhile, Min Hao was still resting in his dormitory. His roommate was worried about his not eating or drinking. Just then, Quan He appeared and took him away. The scene shifts to a black sedan. Tae-woo asked the man how the investigation was going. Then, the man took out his phone and spoke. Zhang He's parents died early. He only has a 17-year-old brother to rely on. It seems his brother is the leverage Professor Chung uses to threaten Zhanga. After thinking, Tae-woo immediately decided to investigate within the school. Then he found Lin assistant to help, but she said that she and Tae-woo were no longer senior and junior. There was no need to engage in such dangerous intelligence gathering. Tae-woo smiled slightly. Isn't a senior from the music club still a senior? Hearing this, teaching assistant Lin looked at him with disdain. You've rarely come since you started your senior year. At this moment, Tae-woo chimed in. It was true. He really didn't have much time these days. Now he wanted to find someone suitable to get rid of this guitar. Originally, he planned to sell it to a junior. But you said we aren't seniors and juniors. Faced with the temptation of the guitar, teaching assistant Lin was completely manipulated and immediately spilled everything he knew. Following teaching assistant Lin's information, Tae-woo also arrived outside the warehouse. By coincidence, he encountered Ji Xian, who had also come to gather intelligence. At this moment, he chose to observe from outside for a while. Soon after, shouting could be heard from inside the building. The burly man was seen forcing Ji Xian to reveal why he had come. Just then, the burly man was kicked and sent flying. The person who arrived was Tae-woo from outside. He had planned to observe and leave, but didn't expect this to happen. Ji Xian was very surprised. Why is it you, brother Tae-woo? What is a girl like you doing at this school? While they were talking, someone tried to sneak attack but was blocked by Tae-woo. 3 henchmen rushed toward Tae-woo without saying a word. Tae-woo fought against all 3 of them. With one kick, he took down one of them. In an instant, 2 of the 3 men were already knocked unconscious. Afterward, Tae-woo grabbed the man wearing a hat and demanded he hand over the key to the basement. Seeing the man's reluctance, Tae-woo knocked him out with one punch. Then he started searching the man's body. Meanwhile, Ji Xian found the key on the blonde thug. The two then began to talk. After learning that Ji Xian had come to the school seeking revenge, Tae-woo was very surprised and told him the school was dangerous. Wanting revenge could likely cost him his life. Ji Xian immediately stated that he understood what kind of school this was. Given their current situation, they decided to talk more after resolving this matter. Then Tae-woo opened the iron door. What greeted their eyes was a very dark basement. The two walked down. The person before them left Tae-woo frozen in shock. A small boy was sitting in the corner playing with his phone. This was Zhang Yi's younger brother whom Tae-woo had been looking for recently. He had been locked up in this basement. He was rescued by Tae-woo and Ji Xian. Watching the boy's silhouette as he left in the car, Ji Xian spoke up. Who is this child exactly? He's Zhang Yi's younger brother. Professor Cheng kidnapped him using this method. This is how he survives in a place full of traitors. Hearing this, Ji Xian recalled what Min Hao had told him before. Professor Cheng was holding Min Hao's father hostage. He didn't want to implicate Ji Xian and wanted to face it alone. Just as Ji Xian was about to catch Min Hao, he grabbed at empty air. At this moment, he came back to reality. All of that had been a memory. And I still can't go to the secretary department. Tae-woo didn't understand why Ji Xian was being so stubborn. So he asked, Hey, and you won't listen to me? The security department is very dangerous right now. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Min Hao had single-handedly dealt with a group of security department members causing trouble outside. At this time, Kwan-hee squatted down. Hunt, you guys, if you dare to tarnish the school's reputation again, the director won't let you off. Then he turned to Min Hao. Let's end it here for today. Let's go have a drink. But Min Hao said he wasn't in the mood, and suggested it precisely because you seemed down. Besides, brother Qingming is back too. Let's get together. It's been a long time since I've relaxed like this. I miss school life. Now every day at the company, I have to strategize with my uncle on paper. Kwan-hee smiled slightly. There's nothing we can do. The director wants you outside the school. Then, and Qingming looked at Min Hao. You just got out of the hospital and you're already disciplining them everywhere? Is your body okay? At this, Kwan-hee added, for him, this is just rehabilitation exercise. But Min Hao was puzzled as to why, after so many days, he had never encountered stronger security department members like Sujing and Baldi. Fool. If you could meet someone like Sujing, I wouldn't be running around with you everywhere. The people we've dealt with these days are dispensable to the security department, so no one will care about us. Hearing this, Min Hao was very confused. What's the purpose of what we're doing? Shouldn't we be doing things harmful to Professor Cheng to defeat him? Then, and Qingming looked at Min Hao. Don't rush. The professors in the secretary department are already working on countermeasures. But Min Hao didn't think so. After all, the secretary department professors, including the director, are actually the same type of people as Professor Cheng. They all serve Hualong University with their lives. At this point, Kwan-hee wanted to tell him about the relationship between the director and Qingming, but was stopped by Qingming. Min Hao, do you want to completely destroy Hualong University? Actually, I'm not too clear. Even if I defeat Professor Cheng, my life will have no meaning. Before, I had hope of taking my father away from here, but now even Ji Xian has left me. I just want to destroy the university that has brought me to this point. Otherwise, I can't see any direction in my life. And Qingming now understood Min Hao's feelings. But if Kwan-hee and I don't want you to do that, the Hualong University you want to destroy includes both of us. Hearing this, Min Hao stood up excitedly. No, you two are different from them. Why would good people like you seniors come to a school like this? There's no choice. My mother is the director of this place. My life's path was planned long ago. Min Hao was shocked. Once a director is your mother, senior? I didn't say anything offensive just now, did I? Hearing this, and Qingming smiled slightly. All right, Min Hao, no matter what, you still need to hide your inner thoughts for now. To drive out Professor Cheng, you currently need the director's power. The scene shifts to Qingming in the director's office. Later, he sat down and asked the director what she thought of Min Hao. Her answer surprised him greatly. Unexpectedly, his mother had such a high opinion of Min Hao. As long as Min Hao is in the secretary department, they won't lose. Actually, you could say that as long as his mother is there, the secretary department can win completely. But we still need to think of other methods. Tomorrow, take this and the letter inside to your grandfather. If your grandfather hadn't retired, Professor Cheng wouldn't dare to be so unruly. As long as he steps in, we will definitely have victory in our grasp. Your grandfather doesn't want to manage company affairs now. But if he knows that you, whom he loves even more than his own children, are going through this, I think he will definitely soften his heart. As agreed, the director didn't reveal anything about Professor Lian's son. This plainly dressed old man was the chairman of H country's largest conglomerate in his youth. In his later years, he chose to live deep in the mountains for peace and quiet. Having tried countless delicacies, today he chose to cook himself. It turned out his beloved grandson was coming to visit him today. Grandfather, I'm back. Min Hao, my precious grandson, is back again. And Qingming was confused about why his grandfather was cooking by himself. Where had all the bodyguards gone? The old man looked at him helplessly, saying he didn't like those people following him all day. He just wanted some peace here, and when his grandson left, he would take them all back to the company. And Qingming was also helpless. You're so old now, and your health isn't good. Moreover, such a large mansion, you can't manage it all by yourself. All right, stop nagging, young man. Quickly help me prepare those ingredients over there. Seeing so many things, and Qingming was surprised. So you prepared such a feast? Hearing this, the old man smiled slightly. Besides you, there's another guest coming today. Then, he saw what Qingming had brought. So, little rascal, you even brought me a gift? Originally, the old man was very happy, thinking it was from his grandson. But when he heard it was from his mother, he told his grandson to take it back. Just then, the letter from the package fell out. The old man picked it up and examined it. Qingming, are you also here to talk about this? Seeing his grandfather looking unhappy, and Qingming quickly explained that he didn't know the contents of the letter. Then the old man muttered, "To save Professor Lian and her son, I must step forward. Your mother is really going to great lengths. Can't even handle a rebellious professor. Is this all my daughter is capable of?" After saying this, the old man sighed deeply. Qingming, do you know the origin of the Hualong group? 30 years ago, due to national changes, we had no choice but to rename to Hualong. At that time, the group had no legal profit-making technology. Just when the group was about to collapse and disappear, your uncle stepped forward and proposed building a university to research technology. At that time, your mother and others were strongly against it. Only I understood what your uncle meant. With his continuous efforts, Hualong University was established, and what appeared to be an ordinary university on the outside continued the dark business from before. As a result, the Hualong Group achieved tremendous success. Everything the Hualong Group possesses today is all thanks to your uncle. Shangxun is as timid as a mouse. Your mother isn't very smart either. Only your uncle was my capable right-hand man. Hearing this, and Qingming looked helpless. Grandfather, you shouldn't say such things in front of me. Then the old man sighed. But unexpectedly, in the end, your uncle also got old and lost his former courage, so after he passed away, I made a decision. Your mother and Shangxun absolutely cannot defeat Professor Cheng. Hearing this, and Qingming was shocked. Grandfather, are you going to give the position of principal to an outsider? Just then, a knock at the door interrupted their conversation. The old man looked up at the sound. You're here. The person who appeared was none other than Professor Lian. Inside, a bit late, sir. After dinner, and Qingming drove back to the school, and told the director he would report the details of the visit to his grandfather later. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the director called Tai Wu. Zhange's brother is the leverage Professor Cheng uses to threaten Zhange. He should be hidden away in some corner now. I'm still investigating. Hearing this, the man beside him was confused. Didn't you already find this kid? Aren't you going to hand him over to the director? Then, Tai Wu responded, if I hand him over, Zhange will still be used by the director. Seeing this child reminds me of Liu Zhang and his sister. The rescued boy ate his first hamburger in his life. Seeing the boy enjoying it, the older man turned and told him to eat more slowly. Then Tai Wu turned and apologized. I should have taken you somewhere better to eat. But the situation is a bit urgent, so we had to make do. By the way, how long were you in that basement? At this moment, the boy in the back seat slowly spoke. For a very long time, I think, since my brother started not listening to his boss much. At this, Tai Wu smiled slightly. It's okay now, I'll take you to your brother right away. But hearing this news, the boy suddenly fell silent. Then, Tai Wu looked at Bowen. Alright, you get off here, I'll go to the place ahead by myself. This time, I'm deliberately going against the director's wishes. and I don't want to involve you. Aren't you afraid I'll notify the director as soon as I get off? Tae-woo patted his shoulder. Come on, get off quickly. I know you're not that kind of person. Otherwise we wouldn't have gotten along for so long. You little guy making a man cry. After saying that, he got out of the car alone. Remember to call me if you need anything. After his friend left, Tae-woo drove to a factory building. The person before him was none other than Jung-ge, who had been waiting there for a long time. Then, Tae-woo got out of the car with Jung-ge's brother. Jung-ge slowly spoke. Senior, receiving your call really startled me. Brother, have you been well? Then the boy stammered in response. Just fine. After that, Jung questioned Tae-woo. What do you want to do now? Use my brother to threaten me to go to the secretary department? Unexpectedly, Tae-woo's answer shocked Jung-ge. I haven't told the director about any of the things I came here for. Although using your brother could provide the secretary department with quite a bit of intelligence, since you're the head of the security department, if I did that, I wouldn't be any different from those people in the security department. Now that your brother is back with you, you have no reason to remain loyal to Professor Cheng. Hearing this, Zhang smiled slightly. So I've heard before that Senior Tae-woo wins people over with virtue, earning the admiration of juniors, but this time your efforts will be wasted. My brother will go back to the basement. Tae-woo was confused. Are you going to send your own brother back to such a place? As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang looked at the boy. Brother, can you stay quietly there? I now have very important reasons to be loyal to Professor Cheng. I can't let him doubt me because of my brother. As they were talking, a car rushed in. Look at these students of mine. If the professor finds out they've been neglecting their duties, they'll lose their lives. So I can't exchange my brother's safety for several of their lives. Then Tae-woo looked at him. I didn't know you cared so much about your classmates. To ensure today's events don't reach the professor's ears. To make him trust me 100%. I have to disappoint you, Senior Tae-woo. Tae-woo knocked one person down with an elbow strike. In an instant, the two who had snuck up earlier were lying on the ground. Then another person lunged at Tae-woo with a knife. Tae-woo immediately countered with a direct punch. At this moment, Jung-ge suddenly attacked, kicking at Tae-woo with a whip kick. Then he looked at the others nearby. You useless bunch. Senior Tae-woo, this is our first time fighting, isn't it? I'd like to learn a thing or two from you. Then he began to attack Tae-woo fiercely. Tae-woo ducked down to avoid it, and immediately countered with a punch that hit Zhang. Tae-woo knew all of Zhang's attacks were with his legs. He immediately charged forward to shorten the attack distance, and unleashed a barrage of attacks against Zhang. Just then, Zhang squatted down to counter, but Tae-woo seized the opportunity and threw a punch. This proved that Tae-woo's idea of shortening the distance was correct, just as he was about to continue pressing his advantage. Unexpectedly, Zhang used his knee to compensate for the attack distance problem. Tae-woo was caught off guard by this sudden move, and could only retreat, which gave Zhang an advantageous attack position. He then launched a fierce series of strikes. Tae-woo knew he couldn't remain passive. Taking advantage of Zhang's sidekick, Tae-woo seized the opportunity and grabbed his ankle, landing a heavy punch on Zhang's face. Zhang used the momentum to his advantage, executing a graceful aerial spin, plus a powerful upward kick, directly hitting Tae-woo's chin. In an instant, the outcome was decided. That upward kick directly caused Tae-woo to pass out. Then, Zhang wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and instructed the blonde thug to handle the aftermath themselves. He needed to take his brother back to the basement. At this moment, the brother looked at the unconscious Tae-woo, feeling uneasy. After all, this was the person who had saved him. Just as Zhang was about to leave in the car, one of the underlings ran over. Are you leaving? Didn't you say there was another person who came with Tae-woo? I need to deal with that. You don't need to worry about it. I'll pretend I was never here. Brother, get in the car. Then the man was shocked. Is this really okay? Zhang smiled slightly. At a time like this, you just need to say you caught Tae-woo yourselves. I believe Professor Cheng will be very pleased. Hearing this, the two were moved to tears. Watching him leave, the man realized it was time to act. Then the two looked at each other, understanding each other's thoughts. They each grabbed their weapons and looked at the unconscious Tae-woo. But let's finish this. We'll make your departure very painful. That day, Min Hao's father happily came home with a bag of fried chicken. Little Min Hao turned around, wanting to share it with his mother. At that moment, his mother was studying hard for her medical exam. Then, his father patted Min Hao's head. Let's not disturb your mother. Let's save some for her. At this time, his father asked Min Hao if he wanted to go to the amusement park, but Min Hao refused. The sensible little Min Hao said, and let's wait until mom passes her exam. Otherwise, when mom gets angry, she's even scarier than dad. His father strongly agreed with Min Hao's thinking. And so, 3 months passed. One day, as usual, Min Hao returned home from school. Just as he entered the door, he found his father standing there in a daze. His father was holding a note in his hand. The seat where his mother usually sat was now empty. Little Min Hao didn't understand what had happened yet. The next day, neighbors began discussing how Min Hao's mother had gotten into medical school. Did you know? That woman left the father and son behind after she passed the exam. Unfortunately, their conversation was overheard by little Min Hao on his way home from school. His small figure appeared especially lonely. When he returned home, the house no longer had its former warmth. There was only his father, drunk as a fish. Pshin Min Hao, I'm sorry, I'm a useless father. From then on, Min Hao was mocked and ridiculed by his classmates every day. It's because your dad drinks that your mom ran away. Hearing this, Min Hao punched him right in the face. Don't talk nonsense when you don't know anything. After school, Min Hao dragged his bruised body home. At this time, the classmate he had punched in the morning brought his middle school brother to trouble Min Hao. Little Min Hao didn't back down and fought with the man. He kicked the man in the genitals, and then walked away. From then on, Min Hao fought from elementary school, all the way through middle school. Anyone who dared to provoke him was invariably defeated by his iron fists. Soon, Min Hao became notorious. Those little hooligans would run away as soon as they saw him. At this time, small-time thugs from another school didn't understand why Min Hao had appeared there. The response they got was just an iron fist. Classmates from the same school originally thought Min Hao had come to save them and were secretly relieved. But unexpectedly, Min Hao jumped up and kicked them too. Min Hao alone knocked down 2 groups. Later, this incident reached the ears of the bald man. He told the middle-parted hair man about Min Hao's deeds. Hearing this, the middle-parted hair man became interested. He immediately decided to contact several of the toughest people nearby to ambush Min Hao. "You little punk, bet you didn't expect this. Don't think about leaving here alive today." The man didn't know that against overwhelming strength, numbers meant nothing. In just 15 minutes, the once arrogant group was now all laid out on the ground by Min Hao. Thus, he dragged his bruised body back home. Seeing him like this, his father asked what had happened. Faced with his father's concern, Min Hao coldly responded, "Don't talk to me." At this moment, his father suddenly said, "I've quit drinking." Hearing this, Min Hao turned back and glared at his father. "So what? You decide to quit drinking and I should cheer up?" Then his father explained that he had seen Min Hao's high school acceptance letter, so he decided not to remain dejected anymore. The scene shifts to Professor Cheng's desk, which had files on the 3 including Min Hao. Professor Cheng immediately decided to let Lu Jiang start testing with Min Hao. So, following Professor Cheng's orders, Lu Jiang beat up Min Hao's father. This made Min Hao completely lose control. In his rage, he almost beat Lu Jiang to death. This further confirmed to Professor Cheng that Min Hao was the fighting prodigy he had been looking for. The scene shifts to Hualong University Hospital. His mother tightly held Min Hao's hand. "This is my son. You've grown up. How did you end up in this hellish school? Who did this? I won't let them get away with it." As the flashback ends, Tae-woo is badly injured and collapsed on the ground. He was almost killed with a knife. Fortunately, Min Hao appeared just in time and kicked away the person who nearly killed Tae-woo. Just moments ago, Kwan-hee and Min Hao were walking along a peaceful path. Min Hao spoke up, "Forrest, we're going far from campus today, aren't we?" Then Kwan-hee responded, "Didn't you say yesterday that I'm different from Senior Qingming? Why would people like us come to a school like this?" Actually, during high school, I was someone who loved to fight too. Seeing Min Hao's look of disbelief, Kwan-hee continued, "Otherwise, how would I have competed with Su Jing for the top position in the security department? If Hualong University hadn't seen potential in me, I might just be a street thug now. Even after coming here, I was really just a small-time troublemaker. But what made me see this school differently were the chairwoman and Senior Qingming. If it weren't for the chairwoman, I might have been stuck in the security department, doing shady things like them." Hearing this, Min Hao brought up a sensitive topic. "If you were still in the security department, at least you wouldn't have broken up with Su Jing, right?" These words angered Kwan-hee so much that he wanted to knock Min Hao on the head, but Min Hao dodged it. "You punk, didn't I tell you that our secretarial department members shouldn't dodge like that?" Min Hao quickly tried to calm Kwan-hee down. All right, no more teasing, please continue. Like you said yesterday, if Hualong University were to shut down, I'd still have many job options. With the experience I've gained in the secretarial department, I'd definitely find my place in society." Next, Kwan-hee expressed that he also shared some of Min Hao's wishes, wanting Hualong University to close down. But since his current achievements were all thanks to the chairwoman and Senior Qingming, he couldn't agree with Min Hao's suggestion. Then Min Hao looked at him, saying he had just casually mentioned it, but Kwan-hee didn't think so. He cared deeply about what Min Hao had said, and as long as Hualong exists, he doesn't have direction in life. Though it sounds like a joke, I think you can definitely change this university. To fulfill this wish, you must train hard. Hearing this, Min Hao turned back to Kwan-hee. "And after saying so much, where are we going today anyway?" Then Kwan-hee responded, "You've been whining about wanting to find stronger people. There's an abandoned factory over there where third-year students often gather." Min Hao's face darkened immediately. "Will Zhanga be there?" Kwan-hee smiled slightly and assured him. He wouldn't let Min Hao run into someone like Zhanga. Besides, how many third-year students did Min Hao defeat last time? Hearing this, Min Hao objected, saying last time he was injured. Seeing his confident attitude, Kwan-hee immediately suggested, "Then do you want to practice with Su Jing?" Min Hao replied, "Sure, anyway. When she comes, she'll definitely look for you first, senior." As they talked, the two arrived outside the factory. Seeing a car parked there, Kwan-hee decided to observe from outside first. But before he could finish speaking, Min Hao had already swaggered over. As he walked over, he happened to see someone from the security department about to attack Tae-woo. By now, Tae-woo had regained consciousness. Seeing this scene, Min Hao immediately roared for them to stop, but he was still a step too late. Just as the man was about to stab Tae-woo again, Min Hao rushed over and delivered a powerful kick. "Are you all from the security department training to be chefs? Why do you all love using knives so much?" At this point, Tae-woo didn't recognize Min Hao. Then Kwan-hee rushed over after hearing the commotion. To his surprise, the person here was actually Senior Tae-woo. Kwan-hee couldn't understand what these security department people were trying to do. Then he told Min Hao that these guys were different from before. Fighting them would be good combat practice. "This time, Senior, you're not going to let me fight alone, right? No, this time you're still on your own." After that, Min Hao immediately said that these few people were no big deal, he could handle them. The security department members saw Min Hao with Kwan-hee and judged that this guy must be a freshman. They didn't take him seriously at all. Meanwhile, Kwan-hee was concerned about Tae-woo's injuries. At this point, Tae-woo said he was fine. However, could that kid defeat them? Don't worry. That guy could handle third-year students even when he was injured. "Then this kid must be the Min Hao you've been talking about, right?" The man in the black hat spoke up. "How should we deal with this freshman?" The blue-haired guy immediately replied. "What else? Kill him. If they rescue Tae-woo, we're finished. Take care of this Min Hao guy right now." With that, the three of them rushed at him all at once. Min Hao's gaze was incredibly firm. In the next second, he fed the blue-haired man a fist to the face. The two were surprised by this sudden attack. But before he could think further, Min Hao immediately gave him another punch. Then, taking advantage of his unpreparedness, the yellow-haired man launched a sneak attack. His sneak attack was quite effective, landing a punch directly on Min Hao's face. Just as he was about to press his advantage, Min Hao dodged by crouching down. Next, Min Hao struck him hard, knocking him to the ground. Then, another person tried to sneak attack. Having learned his lesson, Min Hao rolled away, then countered with a blow that made the attacker pay for his attempt. Seeing his companions fall, the blue-haired man charged without hesitation. But Min Hao was quicker, appearing in front of him. Judging by his expression, he knew he would lose and just resigned himself to taking a beating. After a brief confrontation, all three were lying unconscious on the ground. Tae-woo was amazed at the sight. Is this really a freshman's fighting ability? And Kwan-hee also realized, if Min Hao went berserk again next time, he might not be able to stop him. After Tae-woo and Min Hao introduced themselves, Kwan-hee asked Tae-woo how he had been defeated by these three. Tae-woo didn't hide anything and explained what had happened. Actually, he had carelessly lost to Zhang, not these three. Hearing this, Min Hao looked around for Zhang. Then, he began teasing Senior Kwan-hee. "Didn't you say I wouldn't run into Zhang if I was with you?" Kwan-hee asked Tae-woo, "Senior, why are you here?" Tae-woo's answer shocked both of them. It turned out Tae-woo had already rescued Zhang's brother. But Zhang had sent him back to the basement, saying he had other reasons to obey Professor Cheng. Hearing this, Min Hao was puzzled. Is there anything more important than family? Then, Kwan-hee helped Tae-woo up, wanting to take him to the hospital to treat his wounds. But Tae-woo refused, because there was another security department freshman who had helped him find Zhang's brother. That freshman probably joined the security department to steal information. If Zhang wanted to eliminate Tae-woo, he would also want to eliminate that freshman, who must be in danger now. Hearing this, Min Hao guessed who it might be. But under Kwan-hee's strong insistence, Tae-woo still chose to get treatment first, and the task of saving Ji Xian was entrusted to Min Hao. Meanwhile, the teaching assistant was pressuring Ji Xian to hand over the items from the basement. Hearing this, Ji Xian sighed deeply. She told her that those items had been taken by a senior from the secretarial department. "If you don't want to be eliminated by Professor Cheng, you should leave quickly." Hearing this, the assistant looked shocked. She was very curious about what those items actually were. Just as Ji Xian was about to leave, members of the security department surrounded the two of them. Meanwhile, the group was driving back to school. At this time, Tae-woo received news that the security department had captured a girl. It was a teaching assistant and a freshman named Ji Xian. Hearing Ji Xian's name, Kwan-hee looked at Min Hao. "Are you okay?" Min Hao remained silent for a long while. After returning to school, Kwan-hee asked the blonde girl, "Are the two captured people in your judicial department?" "Yes, but now it's also controlled by Professor Cheng." Hearing this, Kwan-hee clenched his fists. "Is this old man trying to leave us helpless?" Then the girl continued, "There's nothing we can do. The judicial department professor is being coerced by Professor Cheng. He's also desperate." Kwan-hee immediately looked at Min Hao and said, "He still has a way. He knows the layout very well and can sneak in." The girl hurriedly tried to stop them. "Then a chairwoman won't approve. Both captives are from the security department. We have no reason to interfere." At this point, Kwan-hee's words startled the girl. "No choice. These are Senior Tae-woo's last words." Then, Min Hao revealed the truth to her. Actually, Tae-woo was safely receiving treatment. After some commotion, the two arrived at the building where Ji Xian was being held. To avoid involving Kwan-hee, Min Hao decided to go alone. But Kwan-hee immediately dismissed this idea. "If you go alone, you'll definitely get caught. Don't overthink it. Let's go to the back of the building first, and leave the rest to Senior Qingming." Then they went behind the bathroom. Through a broken window lock, they successfully snuck in. Seeing a guarded door, Quan Hee casually walked over and even greeted the guard. When the man realized what was happening, he was immediately knocked out by Quan Hee's punch. At this time, Min Hao had also caught up. When he opened the door, he saw a tattooed man holding a wooden club, with an unconscious girl lying at his feet. The tattooed man looked up. "Who's there? I haven't finished my interrogation yet." Before he could finish speaking, Min Hao punched him square in the face. Then he anxiously turned to look at the girl, wanting to confirm if she was Ji Xian. After seeing the girl's face clearly, he rushed out like the wind, ignoring Quan Hee's attempts to stop him. Everyone who tried to block his path was sent flying. At this point, the three guards also noticed Min Hao's intrusion. But by now, Min Hao had gone berserk. There was no way they could stop him. No matter how many people came now, they would all receive a beating from him. After dealing with everyone, Min Hao immediately kicked open the door, but the scene before him made him calm down instantly. Ji Xian was perfectly fine, sitting together with Su Jing. At this point, Su Jing looked at Min Hao playfully. "So you deceived me last time, didn't you?" Then Quan Hee rushed over after hearing the noise. "Fin Hao, you little punk, if you dare cause trouble again." Upon seeing Su Jing, Quan Hee didn't even finish his sentence before disappearing from sight. Now that's what you call being subdued. But by now, Su Jing had already noticed the fleeing Quan Hee. Min Hao tried to cover for him. "So you might be seeing things, I came alone." Then, Su Jing sighed helplessly. This guy really thought she was stupid. At this point, Min Hao asked about Ji Xian. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Senior Su Jing just wanted to chat with me." Hearing this, Min Hao also breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at Min Hao, who was concerned about her, the atmosphere between them became intimate. So, the two gazed at each other for a long time. Then, a voice broke the atmosphere. "Are you two dating lately? How dare you show public affection in front of me? Couples should really be cleaned up." Just then, Ji Xian spoke up. "Senior Su Jing, wait, we're not dating yet." Hearing this, Su Jing turned to her. "If you're not dating, why would he come here alone to find you? Don't tell me he came to find me." "All right, Min Hao, let's continue our duel that we didn't finish before. If you win, you can take Ji Xian and leave." At this moment, Min Hao had his own little plan. Even if he lost, there was still Senior Quan Hee. But did that guy run away? As long as I win, Senior will keep her promise and let us go, right? You don't need to consider that. I'll deal with you lovebirds first, then find Quan Hee. Hearing this, Quan Hee walked out. "Su Jing, don't hurt innocent people. Let's talk." "All right, Min Hao, take Ji Xian and leave here quickly." Then he looked at Su Jing. "Last time at the hospital, there were people around, so we couldn't speak clearly. I was somewhat ambiguous about Professor Chang and the security department." Hearing this, Su Jing roared, "What else do you want to quibble about?" To everyone's surprise, Quan Hee suddenly confessed that he wanted to start over with Su Jing. Hearing this news, Su Jing stood there in shock. Quan Hee's sudden expression of love had calmed her down. Then, Ji Xian nudged Min Hao. "You dummy, we should give them some privacy." So, after they left, they saw security department members lying on the floor sleeping. Min Hao said the situation was sudden and he had no choice. Then Ji Xian interrupted him. "Thank you, Min Hao." And about last time, she was also sorry. Ji Xian had just learned that in all these incidents, Min Hao wasn't the one who started the fights. Before, she didn't know anything and got angry at Min Hao for no reason. But Min Hao had never blamed Ji Xian. Just like that, the two reconciled. "All right, Assistant Lin is badly hurt. Let's leave quickly and take her with us." Following the way they came, Min Hao took Assistant Lin and Ji Xian, planning to escape. Meanwhile, Quan Hee and Su Jing were still facing each other. Su Jing slowly spoke. "Then you remember what I said when you confessed to me in our first year?" Hearing this, Quan Hee smiled slightly. "Of course I remember. You said you'd only date me if I could beat you, right? If you pass out, you lose." With that, the two began fighting. At this point, outside they could only hear intense fighting sounds from inside. Their way of confessing love was truly unheard of. After settling Ji Xian and Assistant Lin, Min Hao hurried toward where the two were dueling. Coming toward him, Quan Hee walked over with a battered and bruised face. Seeing Min Hao, Quan Hee asked about Assistant Lin and Ji Xian's situation. But compared to them, Quan Hee seemed to be more severely injured. Then Min Hao looked at him puzzledly. "And Senior, you didn't get beaten up like this because you talked about getting back together, did you?" At this point, Quan Hee looked quite proud. "And I'll tell you the details when we get back." Meanwhile, people from the security department had also arrived. When they pushed open the door, only Su Jing remained inside. Baldy spoke up to ask Su Jing what had happened. But Su Jing just smiled happily and said what happened here had nothing to do with her. After that, she stood up to leave. As she left, she warned the two, if Professor Cheng heard she was here, they would be eliminated by her. Afterward, Baldy told the person next to him that probably only Quan Hee could injure Su Jing like this. "Forget it, let's just focus on our own business." Meanwhile, Professor Cheng laughed loudly. "I originally wanted you to find the rat hiding in the security department, but I didn't expect them to attack the law school building. Although this incident is unpleasant, it's not bad to have the law school and the chairwoman go their separate ways. And about Zhang's brother's matter, Blondie, you did very well this time. The most important thing now is to clean up the internal personnel." Meanwhile, the councilman asked the chairwoman when this matter would end. Because the group's business couldn't operate normally, If mutual cooperation would lead to destruction, he felt they had no need to risk their lives to help. Hearing this, the chairwoman told him not to worry. If the dark business of the Hualong group was discovered, then they would just be heroes who exposed it all. They absolutely wouldn't be destroyed along with the chairwoman's side. Hearing this, the councilman rose and said, the chairwoman is indeed a good ally, but if Professor Chung completely controls the school, we won't support the chairwoman anymore. Then the chairwoman responded that this matter could be put to rest. After seeing off the councilman, the chairwoman didn't feel relieved. The phone informed her that the law school professor was coming. This also made the chairwoman very troubled. On the other side, Min Hao's jaw dropped when he heard about Quan Hei's love news. At this point, Quan Hei gestured for him to lower his voice, saying if Professor Cheng found out, Su Jing would be in danger. Now they were in a secret relationship. After saying that, Quan Hei looked at Ji Xian. You don't need to feel sorry about yesterday. Although there will be punishment, there's also gain. Also, you two have made up, right? I remember you two had a fight. Quan Hei began to tease them. Since the day you two fought, Min Hao has been gloomy, saying things like, I don't have any friends to be with anymore. I just want to destroy everything that made things this way. That's what this little guy Min Hao said. Hearing this, Min Hao's face instantly turned red. Then Ji Xian fell silent. She was sorry for believing Zhang's words. Because of her own emotions, she had said some hurtful things to Min Hao. Seeing the two reconciled, Quan Hei felt he had become the biggest third wheel. Initially, he was against Min Hao dating, but now he couldn't say that anymore. Just then, Qingming appeared, interrupting the three, and brought very bad news. The law school's disciplinary committee had decided to expel Quan Hei and Min Hao. Hearing this news, Quan Hei fell silent. Then Min Hao asked, What does the chairwoman say? And Qingming patted his shoulder. That's why I'm here. The chairwoman wants to talk to you 2%. Looking at the two being taken away, Ji Xian decided to check on the assistant's injuries first. At this moment, the chairwoman questioned the two. Why didn't you consult with me before taking action? I completely understand your urgency to save your friend, but you can't act recklessly. And Quan Hei, shouldn't you have calmed Min Hao down? Don't you know the harm of attacking the law school building? At this point, Qingming interrupted. Denen's situation was indeed urgent, and Ji Xian and Assistant Lin were trying to get information on Professor Cheng. Especially Ji Xian. She and Senior Tai Wu found Zhang's brother. If they didn't rescue him, he might have been in mortal danger. Then, the chairwoman said Professor Cheng had predicted Min Hao would act this way. This was undoubtedly a trap that had been set, waiting for them to fall into it. And Qingming didn't understand. Is Professor Cheng just trying to expel Min Hao? Oh no, he's trying to make the law school completely betray me. Although I'm very sorry for you two, I can't refuse the law school's request. Hearing this, Qingming couldn't sit still. Are you really going to expel them? Losing them would be a loss for you too. At this point, the chairwoman fell into reminiscence. That day, Qingming had come back and told her. Grandfather wanted Professor Lian to take the position of principal. Hearing this, the chairwoman sighed. Her father actually treated an outsider better than his own daughter. At that time, she was thinking about how to get her father to help her without letting Professor Lian become principal, and now was a good opportunity. If the old man knew that the one to be expelled was Professor Lian's son, the chairwoman thought he wouldn't stand by idly. Then she spoke. The disciplinary committee must be convened no matter what, but please believe that I will do my best to protect you two. Just then, Ji Xian pushed open the door and walked in. Seeing Ji Xian arrive, the chairwoman also expressed concern about her. At this moment, Ji Xian looked at Min Hao and told the chairwoman a proposal. If they could stop the committee meeting, she would give the chairwoman some top-secret information. The chairwoman smiled slightly, thinking what she said was unreliable. Then Ji Xian said that behind the scenes, they and Professor Shen had already obtained evidence of Professor Cheng's crimes, and Assistant Lin would actively assist her to thank Min Hao. If they could bring down Professor Cheng, wouldn't the law school side no longer be a problem? After saying this, the three left the office. Quan Hei was very grateful for what Ji Xian had just said. What's there to thank? If it weren't for me, you two wouldn't be in this situation. At this point, Quan Hei asked Ji Xian, do you really have information that can defeat Professor Cheng? Ji Xian firmly assured him. Of course, and only I can accomplish this. That is, to get Senior Zhang to join them. And at this moment, Zhang was walking toward an alley. Here gathered students from the security department. He smiled slightly, and gathering first and second year juniors. What are you planning to do? Seeing the chairman arrive, the two were somewhat flustered. Nothing, just chatting. Is that so? Are you sure you're just chatting? I've heard recently that many students in our department are doing some trashy things. If it's just that, Professor Cheng and I wouldn't care. After all, we recruit troublemakers. But I heard you guys were thoroughly taught a lesson by two people from the secretarial department. Reports of such small matters are sent to Professor Cheng every day. Where do you expect him to put his face? And to be accurate, Quan Hei was just watching. The one actually fighting was just Min Hao, right? That really hurts my pride as the chairman of the security department. Then, the clueless green-hair guy reprimanded Zhang. We can't get jobs and don't have money to survive. Have you as chairman ever cared about the students in the department? Hearing this, Zhang was very calm. You're right, I've been very busy lately, so I'm here to care about you now, aren't I? It just so happens that something interesting seems to be happening today. Only now you come to care? We have self-esteem too. We want to handle Min Hao and Quan He ourselves, that's why everyone gathered here. Hearing this, Zhang smiled slightly. Then you think asking me or Professor Cheng for help is beneath your dignity, right? It's fortunate that you still have a bit of self-esteem, but if you people really lose to those two, won't your so-called self-esteem be trampled by them? Alright, although I don't know if this counts as helping you. All of you attack together. As long as I don't use my legs, my fighting level is the same as Min Hao's. If you can't beat me even like this, then if you go to deal with Min Hao, you'll just get beaten without knowing which way is up. At this moment, the two looked at Zhang. Are you serious? Before the words fell, Zhang's fist had already sent yellow hair flying. Green Hair, seeing this, immediately took a preparatory stance. But faced with Zhang's powerful strength, his preparation was useless. With just one punch from Zhang, Green Hair was sent flying back. Seeing the scene before them, everyone stood stunned. Meanwhile, the group was still discussing Zhang's situation. Taewoo spoke up. Shangye is even more crazy than Sujing, Jixian. Are you really confident you can turn him? Then Jixian glanced at Quan He beside her. Anyway, Senior Sujing is already on our side, right? So there's a possibility with Senior Zhangye too. It's just that Sujing has become one of us. What's going on? Quan He, are you dating Sujing again? Quan He immediately gestured for Taewoo to lower his voice. This kind of thing couldn't reach Professor Cheng's ears. Well, congratulations to you. As he spoke, Jixian interrupted their conversation. Now the top students of the first and second years are on our side. If Senior Zhang also joins us, then Professor Cheng will have lost an arm. Hearing this, Taewoo still found it hard to believe. I already helped him find his brother back and it didn't work, so what method do you have? Faced with Taewoo's question, Jixian was silent for a moment. I'm being very serious with you guys about this. Based on what I've experienced and my relationship with Senior Zhang, I think he might like me. Hearing this answer, the two were stunned. Seeing they didn't believe her, Jixian continued explaining. So now I was caught stealing documents before, but he didn't expose me. Instead, he told me to go see Min Hao properly, and said he would personally give me the documents I needed. Later, I didn't come to the secretarial department and stayed in the security department, and he didn't take any measures either. But Jixian, weren't you and Assistant Lin detained on his orders? Yes, and that's the decisive evidence I think he likes me. When Assistant Lin and I were caught, I was unharmed, but Assistant Lin was beaten black and blue. At that time, it was because Senior Sujing was there, so no one beat me. But Senior Sujing coming to talk to me was arranged by Senior Zhang. Although what you say is possible, without full confidence, we shouldn't act rashly. If I'm not mistaken, Professor Cheng will first reorganize the security department and deal with internal issues. After everything is settled, they will move against our secretarial department. Meanwhile, Zhang Ye took out his phone and made a call. Hello? How are things going on your end? It's already done. I'm resting now. But Senior Zhang, from now on, please text me unless it's not urgent. After all, talking on the phone with another man doesn't align with my dating principles. At this moment, Zhang was completely puzzled. What nonsense was this guy talking about?